Good morning, traders out there. How we doing? Welcome back. It's another day right here on Trade the Pool. And guess what, guys? Another rally. Here it goes. Now, we're getting 100% tariffs on chips. All things to be thought about, guys. What's this going to happen? Apple. Did someone call Apple yesterday? Well, if you were watching the show, you were able to catch that, right? That's what I can do for you guys right here on Trade the Pool. I can't help you trade them, but I can definitely keep my eyes on the market, catch the moves. What were the top two moves yesterday? We were watching them right here, Apple and Tesla. Now today, which one will be the top move today? Only one way to find out. Stay right here on, of course, Trade the Pool. We got, of course, the playbook. We'll get to the sunrise report. We'll take a look around in the market. It's going to be a fun day, so stay right here and hit that like, and let's get Trade the Pool started.
Google wants 200, baby.
You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money. It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at.
What up out there, traders? How we doing? Excited to keep things going right here, of course. Trade the Pool. We'll take a look to see what else is out there and what we can get into. But hey, guys, we got a lot to take a look at. We'll be talking, of course, about the Apple news and different news out there. There's so much to talk about, so let's get right to it. Let's first take a look at what's going on in the market right now, see how the market's reacting. Then we'll get to the playbook and take a look at some other action there. All right, guys, of course, you guys can see right now we're kind of hanging in here. We're up there towards a nice little gap up. We've pushed up already. We got up to like about 630, 818. We'll talk more about what's going on, but definitely you can see how the Qs are a little bit stronger. We were talking about it yesterday, up there to 571 with a high today of 572.40. We'll see if we take that out. And we have, of course, some big rippers. We'll talk all about the stocks there and even Apple, right? Well, guess what? Let's just go right to the playbook action. Let's talk about plays that we can be watching today. Of course, Apple's going to be one of these plays. We'll talk more about the news coming up right now, but how can we play it today? Well, I'll be watching to see if we can break the 220 spot. We're right there. And look how we created this bullish engulfing candle yesterday. And now this is looking a lot better. Remember what I said yesterday? What did I say? Watch for Apple going right back towards all-time highs. And now we get this long-term trend line break. A lot of money already loaded in towards $200. This looks absolutely great, guys. I think it even makes sense to buy any pullback here. So at least for me, I'm going to be watching for that. Can I risk about 6% to eventually make, if this goes back, let's say through the highs, 15 to 20%? Yeah, I can do that anytime, guys. So I really do like this even for a swing trade. Apple looking great and looking great today. So we could have maybe an inside day, but I feel like we're just going to get a kind of a rip and go right out the gates. Above 220s is what I'll be watching there on Apple. Let's keep moving. Let's go to another stock that we've been talking about. Of course, we've been taking a look at different plays, and it's not the first time that I've been calling Apple. I've been calling Apple since the August 4th, right? I started talking about Apples with AI mentions and how I felt like the institutional play was definitely leaning towards Apple. Now we got to take a look at different plays that we can play. Of course, we'll talk more about the news that's out there. There's a lot of earnings stocks to roll through. So I'm going to keep it moving here. Let's go to the next play here, which is going to be a short Intel. And this is also on what happened with news out there as Trump stepping up to the plate on Truth Social and saying that he's slamming Intel's CEO in making waves. If investors start jumping ship, I'm looking today right now to see if we go from kind of green to red. Can we get back above the 20 and then see this get hit? We're doing that right now. Well, look how we're bouncing back towards the 20. I'm going to be looking for this to get slightly above 20 here and then start to take the hit right back down. Might take this trade in pre-market because I think this is going to be a fast trade down while the rest of tech goes up and Intel investors left scratching their heads. Of course, CEO under fire and the bulls on the run. Short VIX, talked about a potential VIX meltdown yesterday, was able to make some really good trade on the swing trade things. On the swing trade side of things, guys, did get out maybe a little early on this bounce here, where it bounced to like 42.40s. I just took the money and ran. I mean, we got a couple more cents there, 50 cents towards the end of the day, and now way lower though. Swinging this overnight should have been the move. I talked about a cut down yesterday of potentially the 42.60 or 42.50 spot. Now we're down to 41.40. I think this could get down there to 41 really quickly out the gates, but I don't see it further down than that. So I'm going to be watching to see what happens here with the VXX to see if we get another meltdown. All right, we'll see what happens there. Sunrise Report is what's up next. That's where we get to what stocks are moving and why they're moving, of course. So if you guys are excited about that, let's keep things going and let's get into Thursday's morning market brief as we take a look into the stock futures and action into the market. This morning, stocks were up higher on the futures side of things. You can see how they pulled back a slight amount here on the SPY. But of course, tech stocks were rebounding following President Trump's announcement of 100% chip tariffs, with key exemptions, of course, for U.S.-based manufacturing. So we'll see what happens here as the tariff surge and chips are in focus. President Trump announced this sweeping 100% tariffs on imported semiconductors, sparring companies that manufacture or invest in the U.S. So he pretty much left a wide open door to get around tariffs. And this is what's going to help stocks like AMD, like NVIDIA, like AVGO, the semiconductor equipment stocks. I've been telling you guys, and I've been talking about it countless times here, how Donald Trump is just getting pure out soft on China, and this is going to start to break more and more highlighting here. I think that's what you're going to be looking at, guys. We'll see what happens here in this conversation, but it just shows you the taco trade is real and everybody is running away from what Trump is saying, at least for the time being. If you're building in the U.S., there will be no charge, says President Trump. So here it is. Now we start to look for more and more mentions, right? Of course, Apple popped 2% after pledging another $100 billion in investment in the U.S. on top of the previous $500 billion commitment. The truth is, it seems to me like a lot of people knew about this news because Apple was just absolutely ripping yesterday going into this news, and of course, rips higher when the news actually comes out. So the big boys are already in Apple. They're ready to make some money. So I think that we can look at also like SMH, right? A semiconductor equipment ETF. I mentioned this yesterday. Why not look at SMH? It looks good now. It looks like it could maybe break the 300 and continue to climb here. Of course, Intel's sinking on the Trump comments. I talked about that. He labeled him highly conflicted. And I think that that's a big comment by the president here on Intel. Let's go over now to some earnings surprise. Let's go now towards Peloton. Yes, I said that, Peloton. You heard that right, guys. So smash the like if you're a big Peloton fan. Let me hear that. Let me hear the air horn there, and we'll see what happens out there as Peloton actually getting off the ground here and maybe getting a little bit of a lift. I saw that they're going to sell used bikes and things like that. The EPS came in at 5 cents. Wow. This stock has completely lost its earnings, but it also was expected to come in at a negative 0.06. So that's a surprise that you're getting here, right? Revenues at 607 million versus 580 million expected. Cost cuts, another 100 million in annual savings, 6% of the staff to be laid off. So those types of things are what's holding them up. But of course, when you're seeing the staff cutting, that just goes to show you that the only way they're able to do this is to really focus on expense and then make things go down to like the littlest amount, right? Like they're running with maybe 2 employees, let's just say like that, right? And they're cutting and cutting and cutting, but Peloton at least able to shake things up. We'll see if for some reason it ever becomes at least a buyout opportunity. Eli Lilly falling on obesity pills worries. Let's go take a look at that as Eli Lilly takes another hit down. And I've talked about this, how this is not the area to be. I keep seeing people try to go to healthcare, but they don't realize, and they're not thinking, who is president? Donald Trump. Donald Trump does not like any of these names here. Lilly dropped 12% pre-market after releasing obesity drug trial data. Its patients lost 12% body weight on its highest dosage, but 10.3% dropped out due to side effects. Yes, finally, we're getting mentions of the side effects that I've been mentioning with these obesity drugs that are really, really intense, guys. It's massive. We're talking mental side effects, not just physical side effects. I've heard of like suicidal thoughts and things coming out like that, and these obesity pills and weight loss drugs. So to my eyes, I'm staying the hell away from these. But hey, if you guys are interested in making the money on these, I can't blame you. Analysts are, though, concerned about a kind of profile here that's starting to build up that doesn't look great, right? They are losing body weight, but a lot of them are dropping out because of the side effects. Let's go to oil, as oil is rising this morning. We can take a look just like at USO. We can also take a look at XOM. It's been trying to make a lift. It just can't get going. Yesterday it popped and dropped, but crude is starting to rise here. WTI was at 65.6, so it's up about 1.13%. Looking to see if oil is going to continue to push. We do have a new IPO to keep our eyes open for, which is going to be Firefly Aerospace. I priced its IPO at $45, well above its range of $41 to $43, giving the rocket maker a $6.3 billion evaluation. Of course, we know how the rocket companies have been doing really well. This raised $868 million. It debuts on the NASDAQ today, so keep your eyes open for ticker FLY. Yes, FLY. It's not open right now, right? I can't get to it, but that's the ticket you want. FLY. Don't miss it, guys. That, of course, being that's going to be your aerospace. And look into that space to see if it starts to take off. IPO'd at 45. I expect it to actually open closer towards maybe 50. But be careful with these, of course. Trading IPOs can be a dangerous game. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at different stocks out there. How we doing in the chat? Well, good morning to you guys. It's good to see you, Vic. How we doing? What's up? What's up? Can you take a look at PayPal? I got you. I'll take a look at PayPal just right now, coming up right after this. I don't mind it, big milkshake trading. The big part of PayPal is going to be also watching like Block, XYZ, and you could keep your eyes on these. The payment companies have been doing well. We'll talk about those coming up. Appreciate you coming in, and good morning to you also. All right, let's keep taking a look out there. What's going on in the market this morning? We talked about Fireflies. Let's go to some notable movers. We're going to go through some of these earnings reports. If you have an earnings report that maybe I don't touch, let me know in the chat. We can definitely get to it. I'm going to run through these, right? Not going to go to too much analysis here to see what happens here. If we're going to go back there to 500 or 600. This is Duolingo, really good earnings. This one I actually believe in, guys. This is an AI player that has gotten things the right way. Now they're really kind of driving the business. And if you really think about it, this company has really started to take off. So it's had a couple of lifts off. Now I'm looking for this to continue into play. The only thing is that you got to look for pullbacks to jump in here. 400 seems to make sense. Q2 beat, strong Q3 outlook, 257 million to 261 million versus a 253 million estimate there. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to ELF. As we take a look at some beauty stocks, this one taking a hit as China tariffs hit margins hard. Profits are down 30% year over year, and no full year guidance issued. Sound the alarm. This is bad news. Bad news in ELF Beauty. This just goes to show you that the tariffs will be affecting certain companies worse than it's going to attack some companies worse than others, and ELF right here seems to be one of those companies. So this gap fill, it seems almost aligned to come into play. That's 91.88. We're at 99. Maybe looking for bounces back towards like 105, 110 to get short on a swing. Doesn't seem too bad. We'll see what happens there. Let's go to IonQ. IonQ did go down 5%, was looking to get a move back to 50. I was looking at this one as a very important report for Quantum. It did lose 70 cents there versus an expectation of losing 30 cents or 29 cents here. Revenues at 20.7 million versus 17.2 million expected. It just shows me that, this Quantum is nowhere near where it should be at the time being for the prices that it's doing, but it's definitely the hype. We'll see if it's able to get a little bit of a lift. If the market can lift off, maybe this also lifts right back. Let's go to DKNG as they got earnings here. DraftKings, a name that I was looking at for the high tight flag that we talked about right here, right? We talked about it when it was starting to break that. That was on 9/24, right? When we were looking for this to kind of break back through here. Now we're looking for this to kind of break back towards another level here. This looks actually interesting, guys. I think this has really started to get going. If you look at it on the monthly, it's been really tight here. Now it's starting to push good earnings. I think we got ourselves a nice little run here in DraftKings. So we could look for maybe an inside day, but I'm looking for a takeout of 50 eventually. So we'll keep this one on the radar to see if it goes right back through 49.60. All right, let's keep it going. That's DKNG. Their earnings per share were at 30 cents versus 15 cents. Revenues at 1.5 billion versus 1.41 billion expected. Fiscal year guidance at 6.2 billion to 6.4. High end expected there. So Airbnb is the next one that I wanted to go to, down 7%. Of course, this one had really turned. It was looking like it was wanting to break out, and boom, right back down. We're not going to always get them right. This one, a wrong one here. And what happened? It was more the space itself, really. But let's take a look at the earnings here. The Q3 revenue guidance was at 4.02 billion to 4.1 billion versus a 4.05 billion estimate. So the guidance was good. It beat Q2 earnings, but forecasting underwhelming here. And I think this has to do with also what happened with booking, right? That's what started to break these companies, right? Now, let's see if they start to break down a little bit further. I'll see what happens today. If RCL can continue breaking down, I think these continue breaking down, these leisure names. But if it starts to bounce back, keep your eyes in this space. Of course, we got a disaster in like DAL and other names like that that kind of filled the gap. But look how quickly they're coming back to the upside. Let's go to Fortinet. Fortinet really getting hit. The disaster stock of the day, down massively here as Q2 revenues at 1.63 billion, but a weak Q3 guidance spooking the investors out of this name. Now, this name really coming back down. This one looks like it wants to get back towards prior resistance on the monthly, which is going to be first stop 70. And then from there, we can go all the way back down to 50s. Fortinet not looking good this morning at all. Let's go to Dash here and keep the party moving. I'll take a look at the chat to see if there's any name that you guys are watching. DoorDash completely taken off, guys. And this is something that we can play. Cup and handle continuing higher. That tells me watch for Uber to continue higher. Uber looks good here to break 90, go to the 100 again. So I'll just put this one on the radar here. I'll even set an alert here because I feel like this is a great stock to look for another rip here. As Dash came in really good there. Earnings at 65 cents versus 44-cent estimate. Revenues at 3.28 billion versus a 3.16 billion estimate. So good beat there in revenues. And let's go to one more, last one here. HubSpot up 5%. They get an EPS here of 219 versus a 212 estimate. Revenues at 760.9 million versus a 739.4 million estimate. So big beats there. HubSpot turning things around. And I think this tells me more and more. Look for names that have AI access for software to start seeing them get a nice little push. This is a long-term trend line. We're going to create it. Wait for it to really break to get excited about this name. But it looks good here if it can start getting to the 550 and the 600 spot. So keep your eyes open. Let's see what happens there in HubSpot. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. I can do one last one here, which I always love, but I want to catch some comments from the chat. How we doing out there? It's good to see you guys out there. Good morning to you. Jay Angelo in the house. What's up? What's up? Big man, how we doing out there? It's good to see you guys. Just watched Michael's last funded trader interview. There you go. And dropped this morning. It's good to see you guys, man. Definitely let me know if you have any stock that's on your radar. We can definitely bring it up and take a look. I know I still got to go through PayPal. I got you, Big Milkshake. We're going to go through Bros and then PayPal right after that. Let's go to Bros, as only the bros will know what Bros is. Do you guys know what Bro is? Of course, it's my favorite coffee place. I can't get it anymore. I did hear that they're starting to come near my my area, Central Florida. But man, this is a company that I expect to one day really compete with a Starbucks. And there's a reason why. It's how they do things that matter. Let's take a look here at the chart back towards 69. And I remember when this was at $30 and people were hitting me when it was down there. And you guys can see there's lines drawn there since all the way in August of 24. All right. We're not talking of 25. We're talking of 24, right? So that was back here when things were starting to turn right on this long-term trend line. And when we broke that long-term trend line, we started to going up and then really broke out of the consolidation range at this 40 and haven't looked back at that gap. We've never come back to that gap, right? And that tells me something. That tells me that it's the value is in here in Bros. Now it's starting to push and could get to 80. Really nice push here. So we'll continue to watch to see what happens on this name. Bros, Q2 sales beat, same stores, finally going up higher with a great trend. Up 6.1% year over year, raised full guidance. And what was the one thing that I said about this company and why it was starting to go down? It was the same store sales numbers going into the negatives. And the moment that this company started to pop was when that went back to the positive. And now it continuing to gain traction to the upside. So really good look here. And dare I say, a fundamental outlook. Oh my God. All right, guys, smash the like. It's good to see you guys out there. Let's go to PayPal and take a look at that stock for my man, Big Milkshake. Let's go. So PayPal, of course, pulled back here, recently had some earnings, kind of hang in there. It's trying to rebound right back into the gap. So I think this could be a really good gap fill play to watch for if we can really get back up into this spot. So if we can get back towards like 72.50s, really start to climb back there, it doesn't look bad at all here. If you look at XYZ, of course, this has pulled back with this move, but it's trying to fill this gap. It's almost there. I feel like you let it get near that again, but this could start to climb right back. Use block as a kind of an indicator, right? If you see block really pushing, let's say back to 80, you should see PayPal following along for the journey. So we'll see what happens there in PayPal and other names, but PayPal doesn't look bad. It just needs to get that gap fill right back, and then it'll look a lot better above 80. All right, guys, we'll see what happens if this ever does break the kind of consolidation range. It's been between 90 and 60 for a long time. So move to 80 could start to get that gas pedal going. All right, we'll take a look at some different names out there. We'll keep pushing. We'll look to have Michael back, I think, at 9 a.m., but he had a long night, so I'm not sure if he's going to be joining us just yet. I will let you guys know how things go and move along. If not, Money Mitch will be here, of course, to run towards the open. It's going to be a great day today, and I'll tell you one thing. Knock, knock. I'm ready to go trading and making some money out there. So let's keep it going, guys. You know where you're at. It's Trade the Pool. Let's keep pushing, guys, and see what we can come up with. All right, let's go. Let's move into the watch list area. We can take a look at stocks that you guys are watching. I'm going to run through some of these names, maybe the 5-day price trend, because, man, Apple is really leading. But remember APLD, I've talked about this name, and most are missing this lift off. But I was talking about this name where? At 11. We're now 15. We're talking 50% higher. Yes, another 50% runner that, of course, I've been looking at for a long time. So, hey, Big move there in APLD, and it just continues to push. And by the time you'll hear people talk about this, it could be at 20, 30. Who knows where this thing stops? It's in the right space, and it's getting the love. FLNC, another name I'm watching here for a nice breakout today. Can this get through the 9 and really take off back through 10, 11? This is a name that's been running with Bloom Energy. And of course, what do you see on this chart? Well, Bloom Energy really doing well. And what do you see on this one? Well, you see this huge gap zone to the left. This gap zone, I think, could fill. And if it could fill this gap zone, that's a hell of a play. So I'm watching for that. I'll draw a rectangle pattern so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. That's to the left-hand side here. If we can fill back up there to 12, that's a really good play here. So I like this name. It's definitely a kind of more focused into data storage than, let's say, a Bloom Energy, but it's a pure play in the space and in this theme. All right, we'll take a look at some other stocks, and definitely disaster stock of the day is Fortinet. Looking around, there's people talking about Celsius Holdings because that's ripping higher to 52.75. I talked about how this was bottoming out, and you could see this move right back up, right? That's why it's important to look at monthly charts, guys. We're looking for these things to change. Crocs is another one that I'm looking to see if at some point the monthly can change. This one getting hit today, but it's just things like this that I try to keep an eye out, especially on a deeper time frame. Kind of jump in there, right? But yeah, excited to see what happens there in Crocs to see if we get back up above 100 and see if we get to the 140s. But it's an Apple type of day, of course. Who was watching Apple yesterday? You know we were talking about it right out the gates. Talked about a potential new all-time high coming in soon. And look at the amount of volume that's really kicking into Apple. This tells me more and more institutions are loaded in 200. It also tells me that the SEC does not know how to do their job, because if there was anything that I knew yesterday, somebody knew the news in Apple that we got after the bell, and they already knew it was coming fast. All right, we'll see what happens out there. We can take a look at some smaller names. I do see some names up. I got this one up about 94%. We can take a look at some other ones here. YHC up $2 through the 150. This ARHS really hot there. There's some hot names out there. I think you got to really look for the ones that are in the higher volumes, but there's some definitely making a move. Even Celsius showing up on my scanner. It's ripping. Peloton showing up there. There's so many names. VKTX, APPN. Man, this is one of those days where there's so many trades. You just got to try to go with a watch list and maybe go with the strongest move out the gates, because there are so many names that are moving fast. It's going to be hard to play them all unless maybe you got a system that could do it all. All right, guys, let's keep trading. We'll talk about some more action. We'll take a look at some other names. Look at Datadog. The dog of the dogs pushing. This one can tell me that maybe we just get another bounce in cybersecurity. So look for maybe a pan double reversal back up, or maybe a Z-scaler that was really strong to catch the bid again and just rip through 300. Why not? I mean, these names haven't been wanting to come back. Now, maybe that was a further enough pullback. That was a correction, 10%. Yeah, 10% pullbacks seem to me like perfect correction mode to look for this to maybe go right back to the upside. But all right, guys, that's going to do it for me right there on that conversation, watch list building and all that. Let's bring in the man that had a long night but still cannot give it up. My man, Michael Noss. What's up? What's up, man? How we doing?
What a night. What a night. I'm going on 2.5 hours sleep, guys. So definitely give me some leeway here if I misspeak.
Yeah, man. You might need one of these Dutch Bros 911 drinks that I've talked about. The Dutch Bro 911. And
how much? Just tell me how much the caffeine is, and I'll get it.
This is all you need to see, man. What does that say? 6 shots of espresso.
Yeah, that's illegal in Canada. I don't think you're allowed to. I don't think you're allowed to do that. We've got a limit up here.
6 shots, dude. 6 shots of espresso. I've actually only ordered this once. I used to live in Colorado Springs. It's about an hour and a half drive to Denver airport. And my wife, I had just dropped her off. I was literally just made it back to the house, sat down on the couch, and then they canceled her flight. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Damn. Yeah. So just to summarize quickly, yeah, we were woken up at 11 with just bad cough from the little
Oh,
girl, and it's croup, I guess they call it. So it's like an
yeah.
upper respiratory thing. They jacked her up, filled with steroids. By the time I got home, it was like 3 or so in the morning. But I am fully expecting a knock on the door from the police, or at least being mailed something, because I broke a whole lot of laws getting her to the hospital the way she was sounding. So I was definitely caught on some traffic cams with this giant SUV going like 200 kilometers an hour to get in there. But
Hey,
uh,
can't blame you for doing it, man. You got to do what you got to
no.
do,
So
right?
if I
I
get
mean,
so if I get pulled away in cops, it's not securities fraud. It's just
hey,
reckless driving. But no, everything. She's good now. She's
yeah,
out
that's what
there with
matters the
her
most, man.
grandmother. So I am slamming coffee, and it's a good lesson, and it's a good time that we're gonna talk about some robot trading, because I actually feel just as confident trading today as I do pretty much any other day, even though I've got absolutely no
Yeah.
sleep. If I was discretionary, better believe I'm trading like 1/10 my size or not at all. But I've got the bot loaded up. I actually did it last night before all this happened, so I just got to sit here and manage.
Yeah, I think what you really got to do is, and we got to tell you guys, hit the link down below. What are you
Yep.
waiting for, guys? I will tell you guys right now, we have a link down below. If you want to build your profitable trading bot, well,
Mhm.
hit the link. It's right now in the description below. Start building, start getting ready. We have a kit that will be coming out on the 18th. We
Yep.
have videos along with that. Michael kind of teased it along, was trying to keep you guys in tune so you guys knew this was ready. So this is
Well,
really big. This is the next stage really in development here at Trade the Pool to give you guys what? More opportunities, of course.
mhm.
So it's great
So
to
yeah, so
hear
just
that we're
to
going towards the bot life. So explain a little more about this, Michael.
yeah, so on the 18th, the game plan is right. We're launching a whole bunch of things. I did a whole video series about, first of all, to try to convince everyone to get systematic trading, which, if you guys been hearing me rant for a long period of time, I probably don't need to convince you guys anymore. But what we're going to do is how to use the bot when it comes to TrendSpider, where you don't have to do any coding. You can just set up, right, buy if this happens, sell if this happens, set that alert for a single security. And then what we're going to do on the 18th is we're going to have our normal stream here. And then we're going to go over to TrendSpider's channel as well. And we're going to bring you guys with that, because the bot, the linking bot is called Signal Stack, and that's a parent company of TrendSpider. So you can use TrendSpider, which is a partner of ours, and then that connects to Signal Stack, and that will connect to Trade the Pool. So what we're going to do on that live stream is I'm going to set up some basic things live. I know Rando will love this, because we're going to
Oh,
do
yeah.
an opening range breakout strategy and maybe some moving average crossover strategies live with the CEO of TrendSpider. So he's going to make sure if I'm doing anything wrong, he corrects me. And we are going to set up the robots. We're going to point it at a account, an eval account, and just show everything from how to get started, how to set up, how to do all these things, and just kind of watch it live. So that'll be at TrendSpider and Signal Stack. Will be super cool.
Yeah, so stay tuned, guys. Definitely smash the like for that. And do us a favor, right? I'm sure we're going to clip this. We'll be putting it out on social. So if you're watching this on social right now, whether it be X, YouTube, wherever it may be, hit that retweet and maybe a quote tweet. So let us know how excited you guys are to build bots and to be able to
Yeah.
trade them with Trade the Pool. So looking forward to seeing a lot of tweets on this and get it out there, guys, because what is going to be needed also is to really be in tune with other traders that you know, to maybe start building some of the strategies that maybe they trade too. I see this all
Mhm.
the time. There's nothing wrong with finding strategies from other traders, then going to do the hard work yourself, right?
Yep.
And I think that's so important, guys. Get to those
Well,
traders, hit those retweets.
and we say it all the time, right? Is that the hard part of trading isn't even really coming up with the strategy. A lot of the stuff that you've heard about has worked, right?
Yeah.
Rando, for I think, is a great example because he's been just trading this opening range break strategy forever, and it works for him. Not in the way that it's like this perfect thing, but it over time it works. So the problem with most people, I find, it comes with the execution to be able to execute it correctly, and then the discipline to really follow through with it. And that's two things that I think that this systematic trading with Trade the Pool will certainly help with. Where now, if you come up with a good idea, and I like it when the 9 EMA crosses VWAP or whatever it is, that will take a couple seconds to build into a little bot, and then you can just tell what symbols you want it to trade with it, and away you go. And then the beauty of that is that now you are now just an idea creation thing and a testing thing. So I'm going to come up with an idea, I'm going to do some back testing, I'm going to do all that, and then when that gets good, I'm just going to push the execution off to the bot. So really, really cool.
Love to hear it, guys. Definitely smash the like and don't forget to hit that link, right? That's why I'm mentioning it multiple times. It's right now in the description. If you're on maybe X and you're tuning in on this, you might want to come over. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to those tweets that put our stream out. I'll add a link there so that you guys can go ahead and click that if you're watching on social. All right, let's kick it off. Let's go back to the markets, of course. It seems like insider trading is legal, or at least it seems like it out there. We'll talk a little bit more about this. Let me fix this one. I don't know why it always keeps it, but let's fix this. It'll take 2 seconds.
Just doesn't like me.
No, I mean, it likes your other you. It thinks there's 2 Michael Nosses in the world. Can you imagine that?
Oh, geez, no. The wife would run scared. But yeah, so I tweeted this out before the break yesterday, just highlighting how insane this area was.
Mm-hmm.
Right, it was the
Yeah.
low here. Forget what this crash was, but it was the low there. Right, this is the futures contract, so this includes all the overnight action.
Yep.
Hit it 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and then last night we finally blew through. So this now, just like we talk about every time an area is violated, now we need to see on the way back down, does it actually acts as support. So if we do come in, this is the zone I think that we're watching today. If we, it's so 6,375 on the ES, which, right, you take that, it's like you take that to the SPY, it's divided by 10. I can normally do that math, but not today. 633, right? That's what we're watching here on the SPY. You can still see it here. It's less pronounced than on the futures, but you can still see this zone. Other than that, all-time highs, right? So all-time highs in the post market, we're sitting up here at 641 and a half. If we remove the post market and we come back here, it's 639.81. Today, I don't know. That's a lofty goal today. Could happen.
Yeah,
I
it
look
could
I look
happen.
at this, and this, my other tweet, that is my trolley side, came out this morning, my exhausted trolley side, and I just said they're gonna hate this all-time high even more than they hate the last one. I am going to be so pumped to see the positioning data when it comes out on the weekend, because if they didn't use this opportunity to cover some shares, and God forbid if they shorted more into this sell off, we are likely going to see a whole bunch about hedge fund explosions real
Yeah.
soon. Like, it's real soon.
Yeah, and then the careful part would be the unwind, right? That'd be the kind of thing to kind of pay attention to.
Well, this
Uh,
is so speaking of that, this is really cool. I had a cool conversation with oh, I forget his name. He's a Twitter big on Twitter. Again, guys, I'm running at like 30% capacity here. But
no worries.
so
Just
so
tell
he
us
talked.
more the point.
So
We'll
yeah,
get
he,
the
he
name
talked about
later.
well, and he talked about this, and I was pointing out that they're still short, and
Yeah.
they're continuously short. And he said what's interesting is look at the Nasdaq and the Russell, because the Nasdaq, they've been long, not very long, still under invested, but not short, right? So, and then you look at the Russell, they've been really short. We are more short the Russell than I think we've been in ages, right? All the way back to 2023 or 2022, they haven't been that short. So if we're looking for what a pure unwind would look like,
Yeah.
so it would be big cap tech down, and
Hmm.
then small IWM, small cap, little
Yeah.
guys shooting up. Like, so because if you have the average hedge fund out there is long big cap tech and then short the Russell against it. So if those guys blow up, then we get that
The
revision
opposite
back, which would
reaction,
be
right?
really, really cool to see.
Yeah, interesting too for the penny stock traders and the smaller traders, right? Because the truth is we have been seeing a little bit of these kind of squeezy action, right? High
Yeah.
short interest stocks, and to tell you the truth, you keep shorting IWM names like that, and yeah, it is a recipe for disaster when you're seeing squeeze environment,
Yeah.
right? And that's what we've been seeing more of is squeeze environment stocks that you don't expect move 200, 300, 1,000%, right? And when that's recipe to have people also on the fence for blowing up. So it's something to think about too. If that unwind would come, maybe it would actually help these names even boom more. Out of nowhere, we'd be seeing big tech come down and some
Hmm.
of these small stocks move an insane amount. So all things to be thought about here, I think, but definitely it shows you that, hey, big tech is the place to be, right? I mean, at least it's been.
Yeah, and every trade unwinds at some point.
Yeah.
So I just wonder if will the catalyst for this particular unwind be these hedge funds exploding? The
Something has to
ones,
happen, right?
right? And then all of a sudden you get this massive dip and a huge massive dip in the over kind of extended type names
Yeah.
when it comes to your Nvidias and all of this, and then you get this massive rip in names that no one's ever heard of before, because especially on the IWM, the ripping side of things, if they are forced to unwind and they're short a whole bunch of illiquid names and they are forced to cover those at market, that's that's a pretty big deal, right? If you're forced to cover all of your illiquid names at market price, you can get some really irrational prices out there. Where that's what happened with GameStop, and that's really what happened with Open and all this is that everybody was short, and then all of a sudden we start ripping, and then we're up 800% in 2 weeks. Like, this is the kind of moves you could see if we are going to get that kind of unwind.
It's going to be an interesting day, of course, with Trump and the tariff comments and things like that. It's going to be all weighing in on the markets. I mean, it's fun to watch now. I think to see what happens here, and of course, there are so many like loopholes in the new tariff situation. So, was that an intention to maybe help China and things like that? I think it was. As much as they're trying to make it seem like it's more about investing in the U.S., I think it also shows us what
Yeah.
that Trump's going to play nice with AI in China, and he's going to move maybe some to force them to manufacture here, but he's going to allow them to sell to China. I think we got comments in AMD's earnings reports that were very interesting. They pretty much, and look, Hendrix wants to be a part of the show today, but they pretty much told us in that AMD report that if they could get these export controls off, they would get like a quick 800 mil to the bottom line. Stuff like that can really kind of change up a company. So I think we watch for different action, even out of China today. Baba's setting up
Yeah.
names like that. I think it's important. I know everyone's watching like, our tech names today, but why not watch also China tech names, right? Whether it's C-Web or something like that. I think it's showing us something here, and it's really starting to look a lot better. Like that C-Web chart, if I just think technicals, even the
There's
FXI, it looks good.
There's this lesser known, but something I like too, with a CQQQ. So this is essentially the
Oh,
Qs of China. So it's your just top couple, right? Think Baba, JD, like they're just the big guys in
yeah.
CQQQ. And I've been watching this high right here. We've talked about this a lot, how I'm really digging stocks
Ooh,
recently that are putting in these low bases. It stopped going down in 2022, just been chopping sideways for a while. You're talking like $50.
yeah,
Could hit that today. You get through that, and you got an all-time high here at 100
yeah.
for a broad index ETF. Even China to get a potential double. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, the monthly has a nice ascending triangle that it just shows you more and more how it's come back into a lot of support at the 40s. And then recently we did an undercut on the 40s to 35s. And ever since then, it's been really strong. That tells me something. That tells me to look for that break of the 50, right? Once we
Yeah.
break 50, you break that area of control right now for the resistance. You could even be late to this move and still make a lot of money. That's where I feel like sometimes traders get it wrong, right? They're looking at these levels. I understand why people front run sometimes and jump in them now, but there's nothing wrong with waiting for the 50 break and then looking for some pullback action to join the party. Definitely should be on the alert, and I'll be waiting for it. I like this ETF you brought up today.
Yeah, it's an interesting one for sure. It's one of those where um
It's
it's
liquid.
has been
It trades a lot. It doesn't trade bad on the monthly or dailies. It's a little less, but it's not as bad as some of the other ones, right? You're still trading near 100,000 shares a day.
yeah, it's but it's one of those because we are talking for um holding this on for days and weeks and all of that. I'm not too worried about liquidity. Like I always think liquidity requirements is um inversely correlated to uh time frame that you're holding,
Time
right? So
frame. Hmm.
if you're trying to be in and out in a few minutes, you need really, really tight spreads, really, really liquid. If you're buying and holding for a month, right? What do you care if you wanted to buy it at
Yeah.
50 and you got it at 50.25, right? If you're trying to hold it for months, it's annoying. You'd obviously rather get the best spread you possibly could, but you're not going to be as bummed if you lose a little bit here or there off the spread.
Celsius breaking lows mentioned out there. We saw that name. That name was really, really hot. Maybe it starts to kind of get down there. Was that Celsius lows or Celsius bros?
I think bros, maybe just
Yeah.
listening to
The
bros,
bros, man, the bros. I've talked about
bro.
it. That's why I brought the 911 up. But
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I would take that right now. I would take that all day long.
the 6 espresso shots, man. Holy cannolis.
Yeah, we have even in Starbucks, they've got this nitro cold brew. It's got
Yeah.
250 milligrams,
Yeah.
and that's the upward limit at Canada. You're not allowed to do anything more than that. It's
It,
illegal.
Talk. I brought it up early. I was bringing in a drink called 911 Espresso.
Oh,
6 shots of espresso, and Michael needs one of those today. So
I need it.
if you can get it to Michael, let us know. But yeah, Bros is really cool because they do also like Chick-fil-A style drive-through, where you have people out there taking your orders, and the drive-through moves lightning quick. Because of it, there's 2 lines. There's
Okay.
no inside either, Michael. You can't go inside of a Bros. You can only order at the window or drive through. So what this does is also takes a lot of the cleaning aspects of coffee, because a coffee shop is really a dirty business, man.
Yes, all the grounds
Yeah,
and
you don't realize it, but it's a really dirty business. It's hard to keep a very professional face in a cafe. This is why sometimes at Starbucks you get there and you're just like, man, this looks pretty chaotic.
I,
But
I I just searched right again, and I'm playing with this, and we'll go through some of the cool stuff you can
ooh, I
do with
like
this
that. I like
perplexity
it. Yeah,
browser.
you got to keep
I
messing
just
with it.
asked it. The cool thing, so it's context aware, so it knows I'm looking at Dutch Bros. So I just said, "Hey, do these guys have Canadian location?" It goes, "No."
No.
Uh
The
so
the problem with Dutch
gotta
Bros, and
ship
just
it
to
off.
wrap up the Dutch Bro conversation, is the way that they do their franchisee. So you have to, it's like Chick-fil-A, where you have to work for them for a certain amount of time. Then you can get the opportunity to be a manager, and then you can get the opportunity to be a franchisee. I don't like that personal method. It's withholding the growth of Bros. If they just hit the gas pedal, I think these things would be literally everywhere.
Yeah, because you could get some really good business people who
Yeah.
just might not have the wherewithal to go through that process, but have deep pockets, maybe
Deep pockets,
other
experience,
yeah,
and
other franchises under their belts that they've been playing with for a long time. You're basically saying, no, you guys got to go and kind of commit your life to it. That seems a bit weird.
Yeah, and I think what you start to do is maybe having a little bit of franchisee stores, and then having the like kind of the private one where they just get bought, right? And it's just a
Yeah.
license that you're buying. And I think that's the maybe the way to go about it. They're relatively new, so I think this is smart. They're just trying to control their controllables. And the best thing to look at in a store like this, right? In a new brand, same store sales growing. That's what you want to see. That's what on the daily it went down on the chart and then has come back. So just to wrap that up, a little fundamental talk on bros.
Well, this is I just zoomed out on this. This is a really good look if it can ever get back into
Yeah,
this zone. This is kind of looking. We're seeing just so many of these, and I always just use Hood as the example of the
these are
right
perfect
got
examples, guys. You got to
killed
look
for
for the
year.
fundamentals to change, though, right?
Yeah,
Because they did change, right? At some point, these companies were
yeah.
not viewed as positively on the fundamental data. And what I think is important is so you look at fundamental data, right? And then when it starts to change, look for the technicals to start to show you completely new trends. And I think that that's what you see in all these charts. It's just literally downside, downside, leak, leak, leak on all these names
Mhm.
until things start looking better fundamentally wise. And then they really start to push. Some of these names could go from a negative EPS to a positive EPS,
Well, that's
right?
actually what I was clicking on here, right? So if we're down in the dredges here, right? They're negative earnings, and then right at these lows, just amazingly, right? They start to switch.
They
So
start to
kind of
flip it.
right at where it bottomed, you can start to see positive, positive, positive. So as things are going, you can start to kind of track that, and you can do this.
Yeah.
I think here, and just go. Let's get rid of this.
Yeah, you can do it on the bottom as
Yeah,
like
you
an
can just chart
indicator.
out earnings.
Yeah, I think it's important. Even same store sales, I would
There.
love to see like charts that can include that at the bottom. That would be interesting. But same store sales, things like that is very important, guys, because it just shows you if the business is able to kind of continue growing. And for a new business, the number one thing you want to be seeing is that people are coming to your store, right? If they stop coming, it's hard to make money.
Is it EPS maybe? Yeah.
Yeah,
Earnings
probably
per
EPS.
share.
EPS
Boom.
will give it to you.
So yeah, if we go to a weekly chart, you'll probably start to notice. Yeah. So
Yeah.
all through here, nothing really going on. They're not growing earnings, a little bit positive, a little negative, and then earnings start to grow, and then here, so does the
Oh,
price. And then you saw the same thing with Hood. And I
same.
think this is just the textbook example of. I remember the conversation with Hood for the longest time is, oh, this thing is going to get bought out. They
It
have no kind
was.
of way to save themselves, and then
Yeah,
all of a
because
sudden, earnings starts pushing.
customers, they were everyone said, "Oh, but they have the customers. They have the customers. They just don't have the business." Well, they changed. They figured it out. They
Well,
figured out how to really start making money on their business, and that's what happens.
speaking of, I know we're opening in a second, but this is if you've taken the Trend Spider Boost, you want to check this out because they launched this yesterday. I was talking to the CEO, a AI context aware inside of TrendSpider. So it will know everything on your screen, and
Hmm.
you can start to ask it questions about what it's seeing when it comes to technical analysis, fundamental
Oh
analysis.
Lord, guys, get
I know
ready,
it's going to
get
be nuts.
ready, because I will say it right here, guys. The doors have started to become open for the bots. The
Yeah,
door is ready, guys. It's the bots are at the door. The question is, do you want to let them in? And guess what? The market's already let them in, so you
yeah.
might just want to be a part of the party.
You better join them. That's for sure. Right
Vic's
off.
meltdown was interesting yesterday. Let's see what we get out the gates here.
Yeah, I'm just watching everything. The spy here is just kind of little. I don't want to say bleed, but first move is down. We're below the VWAP right here. We talked about how if we do get a pullback, like this kind of 634 area, I think is going to be the most interesting. Right, if we go to a 30-minute chart, the 633, 634 zone, and then we're just going to see what's happening here if we get a solid pullback. But we're just open, right? So I don't want to go too crazy with it. And do we have
Gold
anything from the
continuing, silver, big pop in silver today. That looks good, man. I know you have some silver, so your
we got nothing.
basic materials leading the market action. Steel really good out the gates. Basic materials really strong here. Energy had a decent day yesterday. It like pulled back after, but we keep getting these early spikes in oil. We'll see if we get another one today. Cyclicals taking off. That tells me more and more. We're back. We're back on gas pedal. Home furnitures and fixtures stocks. We're talking some different names, but definitely I'm seeing some strong action there. I'll continue to watch to see what happens in those names like Shark Ninja and things like that.
I don't know what SNN is.
Lodging.
Smith nephew. No idea, but just the robot just took a short on this one. And
Ooh, resorts and casinos doing well today.
and whatever JBTM is. JBTM.
That Las Vegas Sands chart still staying strong, even though MGM and others had pulled back like Wynn. So those tell me more and more Macau might be a play. Just looking around right now for plays, guys. You guys see anything? Throw it up in the comments. Looking around out there. Chips running out the gates. I'll take a look at it here. Didn't see too much out the gates there. I'm looking around.
Yeah, and little bounce there on SMH. Looking way better, right? If we take this SMH chart and we just compare it to the SPY. Oh, the SPY is back up and then back through VWAP. That's pretty interesting.
You guys remember yesterday's shop was having a really good morning early, and I said that maybe look to see if Amazon would reverse out of the bearish trend that it started the day in and then start to come back up. It did exactly that, and it caught life towards 3 p.m., and now it's catching life here in the morning. It's starting to catch up to that Shopify chart.
Yeah, I'm just watching
And
the
Tesla,
SPY here.
another one. Tesla yesterday.
Tesla was just nuts yesterday.
I talked about it. If it could get back above 312, there was 2 doji candles to break there. You broke it and you got above it. Now, this looks good. This looks good. And Trump is in good terms right now. He's like in I want to support tune right now. I think Tesla is one to watch for continued upside. Just did the hour cut down. You see that, Michael?
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. This is when
that's
when we
the
start
pattern
to get
right there, man.
when we get Mitch over to the bot. That's what we're gonna spend probably.
Put it this way: I couldn't take it that fast, but the bot would have took it right there.
Yep. If we did a 1 minute chart, yeah, you probably would have gotten in right above these highs.
Yeah. Right. Probably closer towards 320.25, 320s, right? The VWAP around 320, 17, 15. So maybe slightly higher, 10 cents or something like that. But looks good.
Yeah, all you're doing then is you're going through and saying, what daily charts do I like to look at today? What do I think has the best chance?
Look at Rivian doing well today, guys. I think that's a one to watch also. Whenever I see Tesla start to run, I look for Rivian start to get hot. Not a bad look through 12 today. We'll look to see if it gets through 12.
Yeah, it's an interesting
relationships, guys. I like to trade relationships all the time. One relationship doing well, why not trade the other? It happens too much. Sometimes we make things hard instead of trying to make things easy, right? Part of that is understanding relationships.
The Ethereum chart.
Ooh, this chart looks great. KLAC. I talked about today, not only look at semiconductors, look for semiconductor equipment stocks to start thinking about doing the same thing and trying to find the window that Apple found, right? So you're talking your KLAC, your AMAT, right? Look for those stocks. Look how they're pushing right now. AMAT has a nice gap to fill to 190. I feel like this just looks like a nice, easy setup.
WWW short. Wolverine Worldwide International.
All right, footwear. I don't know what
kind
of footwear it does, but
this is the overextension play, right? Earnings, big gap up, and then we had a little bit of that overextension. So the bot's going, okay, let's take that to the downside and looking to take a little bit of a short off of that play.
AMR doing well in the coal space. Talked about how that could be a nice swing, clean coal, that type of move. The other coal players are not doing well, but that one's starting to play catch up. Why? Because leaders lead, lags lag, and when they start to move, a lot of times the lag is going to start to move higher, and the leader is going to take a step back. Now I'll look for in the next couple of days to see if METC gets started again, but it's not today that I'll be watching it. I just wanted to put it on the radar out there. Scotty, it's good to see you in the chat. ASML would run also. definitely would look for that one too, Talk. So I'd be watching those types of names. I think those are great names to watch on a day like today. And
Yes.
ASML has a really nice 700 recovery that it was just on, looking like it was going to break down. Triple
Yeah.
bottom there. They say there's not such thing as a triple bottom. That's as much bottom as you can get.
Fun, right? That's I love those. I love things like that that are rare, right? That if you see,
Yeah.
it's rare to see a triple bottom, rare to see one hold, but when you get something rare, that's amazing. Right?
Yeah. Now it's just how do you go about that to maybe master or swing it? But I think this is a great looking chart. Talk. Nice chart to bring up.
Yeah.
Talk says he's watching some boil to see what happens
Boy,
with natural
so
gas in the next couple of days. Not a bad one to keep an eye out.
MG.
Basic materials hot, hot, hot. So solar hot today too. Whenever there's momentum in tech, I look for solar to get hot. There it is. Look at Sun Run, really strong 2 days and pushing.
Yeah, earnings. So smoked earnings. Wow. Estimate was a loss of 9 cents and they made a profit of $1.
That can help them.
That's pretty wild. That's a 1,000% beat. That's, that's pretty
Ooh,
wild. So yeah.
10,000 share step up at 1196 on Rivian. I'm looking for him to get tested towards 1190, but yeah, someone stepped up there. 10,000 shares on Rivian. I'm watching it. It's not
Yeah.
insane. But still decent order size.
Lennar getting out of the low bottom here. I see Duolingo.
Oh, that's a perfect AI move, man. I've talked
Ooh,
about this one. AI is just taking over language learning, guys. It's gonna completely take over it to the point where, like, you're literally just gonna talk to AI and learn languages.
like why? I wonder. It's the way I look at it is that isn't it also going to replace the need to learn languages? Like, aren't we like
No,
just
because the thing is that people are so status like Michael with that. Like, if you know 6 languages, you're just viewed as you're smarter. It doesn't even matter if you even know how to use it. You're just viewed. It's a status thing. It's a status thing, Michael. Like let's say like a lot of like rich CEOs and things like that, they just learn languages because they don't have really nothing to do with their lives. But they're like, yeah, I'm just gonna learn a language and then I get to add that to my belt. And they just get viewed differently. Like when you can talk like not 2 languages. 2 languages is kind of like a lot of people can talk 2 languages, but when you can talk 3 or 4 languages, people view you differently. Now, is it really valuable? I'm with you. You
no?
can just use like AirPods nowadays and
Well,
get
that's what I'm saying.
translation.
We're like one iOS update to everyone just puts in their AirPods and you can speak whatever language
But the
of whoever.
downloads of Duolingo and the change that's happened
Yeah.
here tells me something else. Tells me that people want to learn languages. They just haven't been able to in the past.
Oh, well, great. If that's what you want to do with your time, have fun. Not me, but have at it.
There's 12 on Rivian. It's hard for me to buy breakouts, but that's what we're seeing out here. I might have to just start on the chasing party because I'm not seeing much pullback.
Well, right, going through the major indexes, we have MDY up 0.75%. We have RSP up 0.75%. We actually have RSP outperforming the S&P 500 today. That's a big deal. So, just a bit of a rant for I know most of you guys know this already, but RSP is the equal weight S&P 500. So it's not cap weighted. So it means that it has nothing to do with
I'm gonna take some
big
coal here.
cap tech. It's saying the average large cap stock is moving actually better than the large cap stocks in general. So it's a good breadth indicator.
All right, scalp here on METC, scalp, coal, black gold. You guys know how I love it. Let's go. There's a nice push there. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. Let's get up there. Let's just push to like 22 real quick. Come on. Looking good here. I'll show you guys the chart right
Yeah.
now. I had to put a stop there so I can actually switch over. So you see 2150s right now. Got 200 shares, 2125, right on the break of the resistance there. So was looking for the break of the resistance and it made the move. Now looking for it to ride up. So this is a 2125 resistance break. Looking for it to continue to ride. It's going to go break even if this comes back. It could come back to 21 and reload. I can reload at 21. I'm just looking to see if it just runs to 22. I kept seeing stocks just run away from me. I was trying to get into certain names and they're just running. Rivian now pulling back 1190s. Below that, it seems to be the call for me. I'll be watching for that to move. Let's see if this METC can maybe make a little bit more of a lift off and I can sell some of it into the rip and keep pushing, guys. Let's go. VIX looks like
Yeah.
it's about to break down again. I like that VXX breakdown earlier in the day than later in the day. We'll see what happens.
The SPY is flirting with these highs. It's on 2 attempts here to get through kind of not pre-market highs, but a pre-market base, and it looks like it may be failing just a bit here.
All right, guys. Nice little push there, guys. Already securing $54. Might just take the cash and run here at 74 to start the day and just kind of keep running. I'm just waiting to see that the bid uh, doesn't pull back there. We're getting that kind of action there. So
Yeah, I'm seeing, and I'm looking at, because I've got my some shorts on here, JBTM, whatever that is, and that WWW, and they're starting to pay where my one long here is not. So again, something I have to focus on just a little bit, that we're seeing. It's just some things starting to pull back a bit. And there's the SPY. Grab this. There's the SPY. Right? This is what I'm talking about. Is this high right here? We've come in. We've tested a handful of times.
yeah.
And then we did these 2 little pops above it, and now we're fading back down to lows. So be careful. Remember, we did a huge gap. So, if we fade even some percentage of that gap, we could get to 635, which is $1.50 lower from here, and still be up really good on the day. So the question is, do they want to, come in a little bit in order to get that come in and then start to buy it from there? And that again would just be perfectly normal. We did do this massive gap, so coming in to fill this gap, or at least fill the gap a little bit, and then bouncing later today or tomorrow would make perfect sense. So I'm not certainly going to be scared of a move like that, but it's just something we got to keep in mind that certainly could be a possibility.
Yeah, 4 languages. Shout out to you, Shah, because I
Oh
can't
yeah,
do it.
I
I
can
got
barely do
two.
one.
I got two under my belt. Maybe a couple phrases in German because I actually got German citizenship. But other than that, I can't really do it. German's hard. I tried to learn it, but maybe with Duolingo I can get it done.
Yeah, I just don't. It's one of those. Um, if I necessarily had to do it, right? If I was living in a country where I had to speak another language, I would. Otherwise, it's like, I could learn
Yeah, the,
different
the the
things.
key is like for like you, let's say like for you and I don't know about you, but I'm not really like location bound, right? I could
Yeah,
go live in Europe if I wanted to. I mean,
yeah. Like if I moved to France, I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna learn that. I'm gonna learn
yeah, you
French.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think about things like that, right? Because I love the United States, but it doesn't don't get me wrong. I don't have to be here. Um, you know,
That's the beauty of trading and what we do is that,
yeah.
right? You get a solid internet connection and away you go.
Away you go. All right, guys. Energy up 1% on from the open. That's the same kind of spike that we saw yesterday, kind of fade away. So be careful for those to fade away again. But there is some stocks that have been strong again here. WTI has been trying to go up, but it seems like every time we see a pop and drop on these names. Out of there of METC took us some gain there, $53. Could have maybe got 70 or 100 at the top, 2170s. Look for a 21 pullback and then a reload there in METC. So out the gates, some money. Let's go make some more. Forced to learn French living in Montreal. I like Spanish. I like Spanish better. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's the way I look at it too. But hey, nothing wrong with it. I heard the French can be a little A little moody, let's say that much.
And especially the Montreal French, because they not only dislike the English, they dislike the French. There's like this
Oh, here's a theme here, guys.
weird
ALB.
thing.
ALB. You guys know how I like my SQM and ALB. Look how they're doing today. There it is. That's what I want to see on those names.
Ooh, yeah.
METC continuing. That looks good too. It's a breakout type of day, guys. You got to find the ones that are doing well.
Yeah, I'm really interested here in the crypto space, right? So we have Ethereum pulling back just a bit, but if we look at the daily chart, looks like it may be trying to get to the top end of this base that it started here in July and has just been kind of chopping sideways. So I'm really looking to see here if there's some crypto follow through. Bitcoin, if we can get back above this level, everyone looked at this breakdown and got really nervous. And if we get back to that level, that's interesting. Same with things like Ripple, XRP.
One stock that I missed here out the gates here,
Same
guys.
sort of thing.
FLNC. I talked about that stock. Still looking for FLNC to continue above 9.
LNC.
It's a swing trade alert.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good looking one. Yeah, a lot of good names out there we got to keep an eye on for
Yeah,
sure.
this has a potential gap fill to 1277. So I kind of like that. Look, I'm gonna look for a pullback back to 9 today. If it can come back to 9, I'm definitely taking a bigger swing. I'm just looking for pullbacks on a day like today also because out the gates we have been kind of strong here, looking for some type of pressure on the SPY, and I think we're getting that just right now. So
Yeah, I've got more shorts than longs on the go, so
yeah, that's a telling sign, right? Out the
well,
gates,
that's what the bot's
pullbacks.
doing.
I can't blame the bot for doing it out the gates here.
Yeah, this WWW, which you talked about, that one's working out well. Again, this just overextension after earnings, then a little bit of extension today. So it got short that at 28 bucks, 27.95. Nice little pushback on that. And then this other one I haven't heard of ever in my life is JBTM, JTB Marble Company. I don't know, some
A lot of
industrial thing,
pullback
but
out there, guys. AMD, a strong name today, of course.
yeah, we're
Nice
on the
pullback day.
a little bit of a bleed there on the SPY, but look at the SMH is holding up very, very well here, doing a
Yeah,
really good job not participating in this sell move. So that means we've got one other sector that's probably bleeding us. I immediately went to healthcare because it's usually what it is, and yes, that's what's kind of weighing us down here on the SPY today. Is healthcare is not doing so well,
yeah,
and
financials also.
financials filled the gap. Yeah.
Yeah, Bank of America hating. I told you guys when you hear the bank run mentioned, you heard it first here. So let them know on CNBC. You guys are a couple days late on that bank run mention. Look how Bank of America does not want to go back into the gap here. This is a telling sign here that they are definitely not liking Bank of America here. Um, the Trump mention can't get a move now, can't get back into that gap, rejecting resistance at 46. This looks like it's coming down fast. And this could hold up the
Oh,
SPY rotation. That's why another reason why maybe the Qs or focusing on tech is the way to go here. XLI, how's that doing? I think this is one that they could take up again and rotate some financials to maybe some industrial exposure. So I think that's what you got to look for. Maybe some financial rotation away. And then where's it go? Money goes somewhere, right? Is it going to go to tech? Is it going to go to the industrials? Or maybe even the cyclical sector, right? So I think you got to look around out there and look for trades that are starting to rotate away from financials, at least for sure.
well, yeah, we talked about this in the morning, right? That this could be the theme where you get some movements in big cap tech and you get some movement. So if big cap tech moves higher, kind of relative to a lot of these small cap techs, that's just going to do the exact. That's going to help out these funds that are doing this play. So it's definitely going to be something that, and if you believe that these hedge funds have some magic strings to control the market, they're going to be doing everything in their power to make sure big cap tech goes up and then IWM and other sectors go down because we can see that that's the current bet, the current trade that they have on. If that doesn't end up working, if we see the other thing happening, then yeah, it's going to be a big problem for them. And I, for
A,
one, want it to be a big problem for them.
a mat off 185s looks interesting here. I would also like an undercut of the 183, but just taking a look at it now, see if it's just going to do a takeoff look. The hourly already had a pullback in the pre-market, so that's why I'm thinking that maybe this already had the pullback that we look for in the pre-market and it just wants to get above 185. That's a mat.
So here is, we can go back here for a second.
Yep.
So here's the current trades down on every single one of them. So that's great. So that's the SNN move, the JBTM, right? WWW short, and then just bought some of this ESPM, whatever. Again, don't know what any of these companies are. Will die a happy man not knowing what any of these companies are. But this is a new strategy that I'm adding to the repertoire that is kind of a momentum breakout style. But you can see so far not doing great, down about $100 or so today. Just letting these things pan out. Again, it's how it usually happens, is that I spend the morning underwater, and then if I'm right, then most of the positions end up hopefully moving in the direction that I hope they would. So
Missed that ribbon pullback, but I'm going to go for it now, guys. Just letting you know.
IBM 2. There we go. Oh yeah, nice little trying a second pop here.
Yeah, they wanted the 1190s. It came back to 1191. And look, I had the alert out there to let you guys know. And of course, what does it do? It just ran away from the alert. look how close it was. One penny. 1 penny, and it would have alerted me to buy it. But that's how it goes sometimes, guys. Looking for, I got a starter there, and I'm really looking to add at 12. I think the pullback to 12 could happen here, but if it just takes off, I want a piece.
Well, yeah, so I'm watching the SPY here. Potentially, like, it's right fighting with VWAP to the upside. So if we can get through that VWAP and start to push higher, we could start to see a resumption of the rally. If we end up failing here and pushing lower, then it is what it is. But this is, to me, the important zone. So that's sitting at 636.23, which is the current VWAP of the day. You can see us backing off that as well.
AVAH, looking a little heavy here at 6. One there, that's one that my man Kevin would be looking at. AVAH up there to $6 has been pretty strong. Already made 1, 2, 3 types of moves. I would like to see one more attempt to 6 fail. Out the open here, you did try to make a couple of attempts there, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then started to fade. I'd love to see one more time go up there and then fail, because the 1 minute is not going to really give me that look, right? I'm looking for a little bit more of a 5-minute fail pattern here. So if it could go back into this spot, then fail through the VWAP, it would look really good here. We'll see what happens. AVAH as a small one.
What did I do there? Oh. Hearing beeps and boops, wondering what I'm doing, but everything is okay.
Tesla kind of hanging in there. A lot of stocks kind of just like sideways right now. I'm going to look at to see what's actually making a continued move higher, right? SBET looking good. ALB looking good there. LAC. So when the LAC is doing well and ALB is doing well, that should give you conviction to play a little bit more of like an LAC that is a smaller name, right? They move side by side. You can also take a look at different names. I think it's LTHM. That one doesn't even trade anymore on that one. You can do lit, right? Just the ETF.
Yep, that's a
If
good
you
way to do
wanted,
it too.
if you just wanted to do that, you see how it's doing well right now.
Yeah,
There's a reason why. The trade I talked about it. This has to do with China rare earths. It's definitely in play. Another one. Maybe look for a break of 10. I'll put an alert there for around like 990s on this one.
I
like the look. There.
Swing trade I've been talking about for a bit. This FTech is interesting. So they had earnings yesterday. Kind of scary, actually. At one point, it was down from earnings. Now I'm, again, full disclosure, I started buying this thing in kind of the 170s, bought a little more at $2. But after earnings, they kind of dipped down like 25% and then closed the day really strong. So low to high on this candle was 50%, just crazy move. And did a little bit of a dip today as well, and is starting to try to turn and go higher. This is less liquid, so certainly be careful on a name like this. And so, not a day trader, but for swing trading side of things, I'm watching this thing if it can get back above this 320 area to potentially add to the position again. And then I'm looking at this and I'm saying, well, this prior high right here is $6. If we could get there, even the 50% move is 4. But yeah, the prior high is $6, and then after that, if we go to a monthly chart, it might take a second here.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but I'm just along
Yeah,
AMAT and you. Just want to let you
cool.
guys know.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking for potentially 1.618 per retreat or extension on this would be $10. That'd make me a happy camper from 3. So this is something I've got my eyes on. People are saying potential data center play with this guy, the way they clean coal and natural gas and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, all these come into play with this, guys. There's going to have to be some way to power these things, and that's why
Yeah.
I'll give you one more that's doing well today in a different space. NEE, Nextera Energy, does a lot of these storage plays, and now you're going more in your utilities. Why are utilities going higher? This is the play we're seeing, guys. This is the theme of the day right now that we're seeing a lot of basic materials higher. You're seeing lithium named higher. That FLNC, I've been trying to get this name since the pullback, and since the open, it just doesn't pull back here. It's just continuing to push higher. Now
Right.
933s. Did take some AMAT there, and Let's go playing, guys. There's definitely plays to be played out there right now.
Yes. Buys reclaimed VWAP right here. So little bit of a
Pony.
dip, little bit of an undercut of pre-market support.
Pony AI really pushing strong for a name that people look at. Definitely keep an eye on.
Oh yeah, wow! AMD up $5.
Yeah,
Look at that rip.
AMD's. It's just been holding out the gates here.
Oh
Kathy loaded
wow!
up the boat yesterday. She might be adding some more today.
Oh man, almost close that really bad gap down from
Oh,
the earnings report. Almost. If it gets to what's that? Just a couple point higher, 3 points. Yeah, 2 3 points higher, and then completely erases this gap down because of earnings. That I love. I love when a gap down is just immediately and consistently bought. It just shows that, again, this is how institutions get into positions. They buy on the dip, they buy on the way down when a lot of other people are getting stopped out and running. So this is an interesting one. I like this from a potential daily chart point of view as well, where you had that dip. Now you're having a bit of a rip. You get back through that area where everyone was scared. You got to think anyone who shorted because of earnings is getting run over, and anyone who exited because they didn't like the way earnings looked, they're also having a bad time.
yeah. Hood takeoff. So Hood will create the coin takeoff, even if coin has been hit because of the kind of the
Oh,
outlook. And I see MSTR really strong today. Another area to look at, right? I'm just trying to
yeah,
give you guys trades to look at, guys.
yeah,
I'm not taking all these, but I can just tell you guys it's definitely a gas pedal day. And if you miss gas pedal days, what happens? We've talked about this, right, Michael? How a lot of the
yeah,
monies are made when it's gas pedal days. So
yeah.
look for the
And then
market to move also with this, right? Because you want to see a big move. We talk about this over 1% days, things like that. Let's keep watching.
yeah, and how rare they are. That's the important thing. Is that
Yeah.
there's studies done that 70 to 80% of the time the market's just chopping intraday. 70 to 80% of the time, buying dips, selling rips. That's going to be the move. And then very rarely you get days where kind of everything in the market's absolutely ripping. So you got to make sure you got a plan to capitalize on those days
Yeah.
when they are trend days, which because it's only going to happen 2 and 10 times you're going to get a trend day, right? And 8 and 10 times you're going to get a range bound day. So when it happens, you know, buy some stuff and try to find a way to hold on as long as you can.
The swing account just going green fast here, guys. That's what I want to see. So a lot of times when you get in swings, sometimes you're seeing that nice quick move to the upside. That's a really nice way to start taking bigger trades. Who wants to call me right now? There's always somebody, right? Jerome, wait, later. I'm trying to make money. Yeah, doing really well here, guys. I'll show you guys the screen. Let me just go over to here. Boom. All right, guys. So there you guys see it. Swing account here. AMAT doing really well. I stepped up to the plate in AMAT, so I'm looking for the trend line to kind of hold on this pullback. But if it can get through 187 today, yeah, I'm looking really good there. So just kind of keep an eye on it here. Not risk much on this first move, and then I'll look to see if it really goes higher. I think one of the important things is not being risky right now. It's more staying with the strength, right? When the position's doing well, staying with it, and then also being able to let go of any small losers here.
Yeah, the SPY rejected at that same high level again with a bearish engulfing candle and a pretty strong bearish engulfing candle. So, we continue to struggle at this same zone
This is
again
just
and
showing you
again.
the epic rotation, guys. And there's what? Only four, not even three. I would say three sectors that are red from the open. Tells me more and more the rotation's on there.
Yeah.
It's just a stock pickers environment that's driving the market. There's a couple of stocks holding the market up, and there's some stocks that are driving things down, right? So Hood really, really strong. That UUU just pushing strong. So wanted some exposure to that lithium game. That's why I went to the UUU. Like into that rare earths game. So I just went
Yeah.
after that one. Bros, how's the bros doing now? We're seeing a little bit of a slowdown here. I want to see if SMR can get green today. This is one day, that one stock that I want to look towards the later part of the day to see if it gets green. SMR. Give me a flip on that thing. That thing runs when it flips, right? So it's been really bearish the last couple of days, kind of sideways consolidation. If it can actually get back towards, let's say, 48s or 47, quick moves, it can look good.
Yes. Just dealing with a small bot issue here. So
Slight undercut on AMAT there. AMAT was looking really good, and then it just pulled right back to the trend line, kind of cut me out. The 185 is really the better entry, so I'm watching to see if we can get slightly below 185 and then come back up towards the 186.
this one is
Rivian, I added on the pullback. I'll show you guys the pullback ad, 9 EMA pullback ad, 1210s. Now looking for this to go higher towards 1220s.
so I just bought a Zeta, whatever a Zeta is. I now own that, ZETA. Just trying to get some buying power management. I had one position. This is again how you always got to improve stuff. And this is what I love about the game. I'm noticing that one of the strategies that I do that ends up being a really good strategy, but just chews up all of the buying power. And I had one position, this $25,000 account. I had one position that essentially had the entire buying power, right? It had like $16,000 worth of buying power, and that's not the game that I'm playing, right? The game that I'm playing is that I want uh, lots of positions, right? Uh, Both long and short, spread throughout different markets. That's the game that I'm playing. So right, you just make a little adjustments there. So what I ended up doing was that position that was taking up all the buying power. I just looked at the chart. That was this. Let's go grab SNN. That was this position right here, which it had bought, and it's kind of done nothing all day when the market's been ripping. So I just killed that. Said, okay, take a small hit on that, and that then opens up that buying power that I can then reapply. So I went through. This is one cool thing that you'll see
SPY
with
struggling.
you'll see here with Signal Stack is when a notification fails, it sends you an email. So I saw these emails come through, and I go, oh, well, these are positions that I missed because this other position was just chewing up all my buying power and not really moved. So what I did is I covered that and got out of that position and freed up all that buying power. And then I just went and I manually took these positions that
Yeah.
were missed. So
I also think like one of the things that maybe you can look into, and I don't know if you do this already, Michael, but like the average time that you're in a winning trade versus the average time that you're in a losing trade,
yes,
and then maybe trying
my
to bring
journal.
that into it.
Yeah, my journal tracks that. So that's the other thing is I'm downloading all the real trades every night and journaling them. So the more data I get there for sure. What I'm going to do is I'm going to programmatically go through and just give it an if value. Because right now everything's sizing based off of risk. It's saying, hey, you want to risk, $100 on any trade, uh, bigger on trades that are working better. Just while I pass the account, and then I'm going to downsize all of that to make it so it's more consistent. But the what I'm able to do is I'm able to go in and say risk $100 or a max of like say $5,000 of the account in the position, and just one line of code will correct this. I just gotta find a day where my brain works in order to go in and add it.
Long QBTS off of the Ion Q recovery from earnings that weren't the best, but it is recovering strong. So I'm actually trying to ride that relationship with QBTS. It did also have earnings that didn't do the best, but if Ion Q can recover off not the best earnings, well, maybe QBTS also does it. So some people could look at this name today and be like, well, why isn't it down? It had bad earnings. Well, I'm just going to go with the price action. Price action's holding above VWAP here. I got in there 1737. Not going to risk too much on the first trade. Really need to see it get through 1750s. That's what's going to show me the strength here. But it's been seeing it hold VWAP. So let's see if it takes off.
And this is again how easy it is. I've got this little journaling app on Mac OS that I just use to update all the things I have to do. And instead of flailing, like if it was discretionary trading, I just watch the trades come through. When I get an idea, like I just told you guys, where I can just go add a line and say risk $100 or a max of this, I just add it to the journal. And when I'm done here and the market calms down and probably the kids are in bed and I've taken a nap after the crazy night I had last time, then I'll just go in, I'll add that line of code. So hopefully by tomorrow, when tomorrow's trading's done, I have fixed this error. And you can see how it
Oh,
becomes an iterative process, but it's way better than me having to go and have like a meditative moment where I talk to myself about why I messed up and why did I do this stupid thing and blah blah blah. It's just oh, you found a small error. Let's go in. Let's not an error, an improvement. Let's go correct it. Let's improve that, and then continue to kind of march forward. And I don't need to worry about like learning how to do this. I will just do it kind of automatically. So here are the current positions, right? So the short here was this FDTR. Again, don't know what these guys do. And then I bought some Zeta, ZETA on a pullback here. Those were the two that I added. And then I think this one's new for you guys as well as SUPN. So we've got six positions on. Realized loss of about 80 bucks because that was me just killing that one position that didn't work early. Watch that one be the one that would have really killed it today, but that's just the nature of it. And then, yeah, down a little bit here, Unreal. So we're just waiting. Nowhere
adding to
near,
QBTS.
nowhere near stop out, right? And the goal that I'm going to try to do on the eval is getting as close to stop out as possible, max out as much buying power as possible without stopping out. And then when it's real, so I pass the eval and it's a real boy account, then I'll be doing the complete opposite, where I'll just be really shrinking. I'll probably go from 150 bucks a trade to like 50 bucks a trade. Really, really shrink it down, because then the goal is just not to lose the account and use that account to fund a bigger account where, when it's a $200,000 account, that $50 trade becomes hundreds of dollars of trade, and right, money that's actually consequential at that point.
We'll see what happens here, guys. SPY is pulling back a little bit there. VIX did get the spike. It's not a 60-cent spike, so I'm not really too concerned, but it is a 30-cent spike there, like 40-cent spike. So just keeping an eye on that. Still long on this QBTS, looking good here for it to start to lift above the 1750s. I did do one ad there. I'm at 300 shares. I'll show you guys that right now on the screen. You guys will see that on the bottom right. Those are the positions. And then looking for this QBTS to go through this back towards 18 and above. Ion Q is a lot of what I'm watching here, and you can see the strength that Ion Q had. So I'll look to see if this can continue. Right, this will be a good sign that we're going in the right direction. At this point, back to the green,
Ooh,
looking for it to take 1750s. Can go break even now and just let it work, guys. There's break even now. 1750s looking good. Rivian took off also, went away from my entry here. I'm break even at 1207, right? So 1207, two positions in the day trade doing well, one in the swing. And we'll look to see if we get back into AMAT looking pretty good here. If AMAT can get back up above 185, I don't mind taking the shot off 184. This is more swing trade look off the daily.
yeah, this Brilliant Earth, BRLT, Steph is playing. Putting
All
a little
right.
bit of a wick there.
Yeah, I
I
see it
think
on the
this is
top of
where I
my
bought.
scanner. So,
I think this is where I bought my wife's ring. So I'd love to make some money off this because they took a lot from me. Let's say that. But nice little pullback here.
all right, looking to see if UUU can take off again. Also watching QUBTS push there, strong push there in QUBTS. Love to see it. Now I want to see Ion Q continue to go and just push. I'm gonna put a break even on that UUU. I've been really being a little bit more protective on the swing account, guys, because I'm within less than $500 of the funded. So got
Oh,
to
nice.
keep being smart, right? Keep being smart. At this point, like even $100. So what I do is, like, get closer to the goal, I actually shorten down on risk and return, so I can
Yeah.
just stay up at that level, right? I've already pulled the bar up. Now I want to hang out within range, not try to ruin it, right? So
Yeah, because you just got to
closer
get
and
lucky on
closer.
one. You just got to
Ex-
nail one
Exactly,
good
right.
one, and you're
One good
done.
one, and it'll get me there. Um, Especially, I've been taking a lot of like $300 gains and stuff like that. So just got to be smart, keep risking the 30 to 40 that's been working for me. And then just, 30 to $40, but you make 200 or 300 on the upside.
Yeah.
I can keep playing that game.
Yep. That's again the whole thing about swing trading. And the reason that I love it is that you can be so asymmetric on risk and reward, even way more than day trading, where you could
Yeah.
risk, there is a world where someone risks $10 and makes like 2,000 on a swing trade,
Hmm.
or just because, right, they really got a fine-tuned entry, or at least an entry that the thing got bought out, or did something crazy overnight. That asymmetric risk reward is way more depending on your time frame. If you're planning on, if you could hold something for, again, there's a world where someone bought Amazon and risked $100 on the trade because they were looking at like a 30-minute chart, and is still holding. I mean,
Yeah.
it's insanely rare, but that can happen because you don't
Yep.
have an arbitrary, you have to be done by this time. You just don't have to do it. So, and I, for one, am very excited. That will be the next challenge when I have a series of day trading strategies at work. I already have swing trading strategies that I use, and then are systematized, that I use my own money. I would like to do more, and specifically some short swing trading strategies with Trade the Pool. I think would be interesting because if you can systematize it, if you can have a robot do it, why not utilize every ounce of buying power you can get from everywhere you can possibly get it, and just do different strategies for each one, because they're all going to be additive at that point, right? It's not going to be the current strategies, my own money. It's going to be different strategies that are fine tuned for Trade the Pool, and if those strategies are doing well for a period of time, and my strategies are not, I can take the money from Trade the Pool and I can put it into my own account to kind of shore that up, because everything is hopefully uncorrelated. That's why I'll run everything together in an uncorrelated manner.
UUU right off of my levels there, and so did Rivian. It kind of like undercut kind of pushed off of that. So doing really, really tight risk there. Did get cut out of the QBTS trade, took some profits, moving in the right direction, up 75 on the day trade account. Of course, yesterday lost like 140. So just trying to get back there, and then I can take shots, right, from there. So I'm just trying to keep playing here. Let's keep playing. Let's try to ride momentum. SPY breaking down a little bit there. Just keep your eyes on what's going on there. Q's a little stronger than that, but SPY is what's leading a little bit of this down action leak.
Yeah, and IWM. Look at this. Look at this IWM chart from the open. This is what we talked about, though. This sell off is perfectly normal, dare I
Oh
say,
yeah.
healthy, where we've gapped up so big that if we're going to give back a little bit of that, that'd be great. We're still up 0.25% on the SPY. We're still up 0.75% on the Qs. So this is showing just what we talked about earlier. This is definitely a rotation out of large cap tech and into into large cap tech and out of everything else. So we need to just be aware of that. Now, what's interesting is we've gotten to the 2-day view app here on the
Adding on
IWM.
Rivian.
So I'll be interested to see if we have a little bounce there. And then on the SPY, a little bit further to go here. So we need to keep that in mind. But yeah, if we bleed into this, if we bounce off this 2-day view app in the IWM, maybe that could be the move that could potentially get us going.
Yeah, see some trades all around. So I'm taking shots, guys. I just added on Rivian, and there's not many times I'm at 700 shares, but I took up the step because the way the price action was going off of that, it really jumped up there at the 1210. Some buyers stepping up there. Could see the volume starting to flow through. So I'm just trying to ride the momentum on Rivian. QUBTS might be a rebuy here for me, and I risked the same amount of shares that I just sold into the profit. This is something that I've been trying to do more of, is like take a small profit, then just risk that same profit on the next trade, right? If
Damn,
I
you
can
say
do that,
700 shares of Rivian? You're going big. Bitch is swinging.
and I'm taking other trades too.
Yeah,
There's
good.
certain days where I can focus on the gas pedal. Right now, I feel like I'm not getting lost left and right. You guys even see my eyes. You're not seeing me look at my left and right charts. You're seeing me focused purely on my execution screen. Especially for subjective traders, this is when you're in the zone. When you're in the zone, you don't let information or outside sources or things kind of bother you. You're
Yeah.
just purely focused on the trading action in front of you. And you're not trying to necessarily guess, but just react. And that's the hardest part. I think it's all about like trying not to be in the present, try not to be in the past, what
Yep.
candles used to happen or happened 3 candles ago, or what is going to happen. No, just literally focusing on what is happening. That's the present moment, right? The reason they call it a present moment, it's a present, guys, but we got to focus about it. Let's
Yeah,
see what
it's
happens here.
him's up 4%. Tax say, wow, let's take a look here. Yeah, nice little bounce today, right? Bled off of that earnings report. Pretty crazy, right? Did that. This is an insane day where it gapped down big. Remember, came all the way back to close the gap, came all the way back down. I'm still looking for a place to buy this. I haven't gotten it yet. Maybe today, if we start to break back up, I'll take a shot with a stop under this swing low. I do think if we get through this kind of 65, 66 ish area, I just love how short they are. Again, I'm a massive fan of just seeing where they're living, and if they're short, I want to take advantage of that. But you need that setup, you need that moment, and it might be this on Hims, but not too sure. And I just want to get a show here. The Dow is down, so that's showing how healthcare is just getting hammered. So the Dow is down on a day that the Qs are up 0.8%. And that's a pretty rare event because in the Dow, there is some of these tech names just showing how bad financials and healthcare are doing, that they're pulling everything else kind of down with it. So it's very much right. We've been saying it all day. Tech, right? Tech is moving for us. Everything else is kind of pulling us back just a little bit. So we need to see, right, the IWM dig in here and then start to potentially drift just a little bit higher.
Yeah, I think a big thing is to also look at deeper time frames right now because you're getting a lot of like kind of shakeups. So you want to see that your chart is still staying in a trend there. It's okay to see some pullback action, but you want to see that kind of rebound. And I think it's important to
Yeah.
look for stocks that are above VWAP right now, not below it. Those are the type of plays that I'm trying to stay with right now.
I know we haven't talked about XBI, but it's not probably for a reason. It hasn't showed up on any of our stuff because if you look at the XBI candle here, right, we're right inside this range. There's nothing to me that's super interesting on XBI other than the fact that we're hanging out at lows, and if that low breaks, that's interesting. But it's just not doing anything. I'm waiting for. I would love to see XBI above this anchored VWAP here from all time highs. Right, that's sitting right above here. That to me might be a trigger point to see if we start to get a little bit of a move in biotechs. But it has just been a bit of a dog of the space overall, and we just need to see again these other sectors dig in because Qs are doing fine, right? They're hanging out right at lows. Maybe I don't know, rollover could be. It kind of looks like the way it's basing under VWAP, but that the Qs are doing great. The SPY is doing bad. If we go in these individual sectors, you can see now that things like oil services doing well from the close, not from the open. We have retail selling a bit. We have commodities selling. Pretty much everything across the board has kind of opened up and sold. The only thing
Hmm.
that's holding on is the Qs, large cap techs, and you can do XLK is another way to look at that with the SPY. You can see how well XLK is doing, holding up near its highs. Where if you look at something like XLV, right, just it's going to be an absolute tank, right? Just tank, 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 hitting new lows of the day. So not the day to be buying anything but techs, right?
Yeah, Rivian not wanting to do it here, guys. I might cut it and get back in it. It's just not making the move right now. And I think what's going to happen here is a potential pullback towards like 11.95s and 11.98. So I'm probably just going to do a really tiny risk here with the amount of share size that I have and then just let it go, see if it can push off of this VWAP where it just tapped around there, 1203s. If it undercuts that, I'm out. I just want to let you guys know exactly where I'm in there and looking at it. QBTS did cut me out and it's right back up, guys. So that looks really good there. I just was being really tight. I got a $25 stop out there, but QBTS right back through the 1750s. I'd like to see IonQ take the lead, right? Really start pushing to 42. But that could also help like a QUBT trade, a Rigetti trade, right? You can see they're all around the VWAP, trying to recover VWAP and push higher. We'll see if they can continue to push.
Yeah, just
VIX trying to push though. I do see that 42 now. So that's your 60-cent spike that I talk about all the time.
yeah, and right, we just got to remember this is one of those days where it's always good to zoom out and include yesterday's action because right, this feels very bearish, but really it's just context of a pullback of a really strong overnight trend that we had,
Mhm.
and it's something else that we hammer about, but we always get new viewers, so I like hammer about. Most of the ups that happens in the market is in the overnight action, right? If you actually run the numbers and if you just bought the open and sold the close, you don't make any money in the SP 500, right? You buy the close and sell the open. That's where all the money is. So it could be one of those. We gap up, we pull back into that gap a little bit. Maybe we drift higher into the end of the day or later in the day. If that's going to be the case, then that's great. It means we potentially play a little bit to the short side. What I'm looking to do now is when I'm going through the only kind of discretion that I might put in my plays is when we have a pretty substantial or just a down drift like this that I think could be at or near a bottom. I may just start to pair some shorts, right? So if I look here, I've got a couple shorts that are doing okay for me. I may just go through and start to, take some of this money off the table.
Out
At least
you.
put little limit orders in on them. Say, hey, if we can get a little bit of move to maybe here, I'll take $100 on that one, and just do that from the short side of things. And then if I'm right and the market digs in and starts to push higher, well, I've taken a little bit off my shorts, and now right we were adding longs the whole way down, so I take a little bit off the shorts, maybe make some money on the long side of things, and then away we go.
Yeah, the funny part is the shorts are starting to win. Um, Now it's every sector red from the last 15 minutes, and from the open, only utilities up overall from the open. So, and that's pulling back fast too. So, definitely SPY leak is starting to really affect the other sectors.
Yeah, well, eventually, right? At the masses will pull the few.
Yeah,
It's
and it's
only a matter of
healthcare and
time.
financials, right? And now industrials. Remember I talked about how would the XLI join in on the party, and would they rotate to it? Well, they rotated out of it. Look at the XLI. At least that does not look good at all here, guys. That's headed straight down since 10 a.m. So that definitely changed tunes there. Was watching for that to see if it push, and instead we got a quick dip there in the XLI. So the rotation not going to it. 3 or 4 sectors like pretty deep red there. Financials, healthcare, real estate, and industrials. So finally, real estate really starting to take a downside look there. So like a Zillow, that looks like maybe it eventually turns around. It's holding in right now, and I know it has earnings, I think, tonight. So look for that earnings report. That will be interesting if it's able to hold on to the price action, right? That's going to affect open tonight. So watch that to affect that stock too.
Just taking my camera down for a second. 'Cause
No
I
worries.
need
I'll
to
throw you in the
breathe.
back. I'll throw you in the back, man. Take a second.
Oh, no, I'm still here.
All right. No worries.
Just
Take a second, man. We'll see what happens right now. I'm looking around out there, guys. Sky YT is one of the names that has been hot today. Now starting to turn around from the $12 spot there. That could be a fade. Skywater Technologies, semiconductor name though. That's one thing I will say.
yeah, we're seeing a lot of interesting moves there. I just needed my phone there for a login, but it's just bifurcation is the way you got to look at it, and it's okay. That's actually kind of fun to have bifurcated markets like this where you're seeing some, but like you mentioned, eventually, if everything gets bad, everything gets pulled back. So the big question, the question of the day is this a pullback to maybe the 2-day VWAP? Remember we talked about 633, and the reason we talked about 633, if we go to the ES and then we go to the 1 hour chart, remember we talked about this right off the open. I had this 1 hour, not 1 minute. This zone right here, right? This is where we were fighting with all yesterday. We've come right back down to test that area. So is this a dig in and bounce higher, or is this just whole thing a little bit of a fake out of this break? We don't know. We'll find that out later in the day, but this is kind of the two scenarios that I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, and I think that we could also just maybe just do a little bit of a pullback for like the first hour or two of the day and then, catch fire in the afternoon. This is one of those days where I think I got to wait to see when the fire gets caught again, right? The fire was out the gates. There were some moves that made some moves. Now I think we got to keep watching to see if some leaders can kind of drive. Seeing some strength. QBTS now really starting to take right back off, guys. So don't mind stepping up to the plate right back in here. I think we just got to watch and see that the Qs can kind of help us and actually stop dropping, right? Because the Qs are dropping fast, SPY's dropping fast. There are some names continuing up higher, SPY weaker than other names. So watching that action. Like let's say like a HIMS, right? It's up, it's in healthcare space, but healthcare is getting really driven down. So Ion Q pushing to 42 tells us that Rigetti and those types of plays could be plays here. Rigetti just getting off the VWAP 1575s. We'll see if it takes 16.
All right, so I've just paired out some of the shorts that we're doing there, and the reason for that, if we go back into the 5 minute chart and change that to SPY, we came back right down pretty much perfectly to the 633. So my game plan was if we revisit there, potentially is that where the longs are going to participate? Is that where the longs are hanging out? So if that's the case, I want to I want to be able to ring the register on some of those shorts, take some of that profit off the table, and then just wait until potentially, if we do get a bounce, the longs here to pick back up the longs that I've got on the go. So really, I'm just watching to see, do we dig in somewhere between here and the 2-day VWAP? and then we don't even need to move higher. Maybe we just kind of just consolidate or chop sideways or something to that respect. Um, and maybe that will help out the long side of things.
All right, guys, back into UUU there. Did get cut out near the bottom. Maybe should have held through there, but it just had to be careful with the action that I saw there. So I'll take one more shot on the swing side of things on UUUU. Of course, we'll be looking. I'm looking for a move to 10 on this name. So you guys could see how it's just hanging out here. Did do an undercut. The first 15-minute candle went from 996 to a 903. So essentially looking for it to get a break of range, but to the upside here. A lot of that based off saws in the daily, a recovering 9 EMA back through 10, back through, let's say, 1041s, and you're back on breakout mode for this UUUU. So with earnings coming in and the reaction that's coming in with it not being negative, I'm with it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah,
There it goes. Nice little spike there off of the first action. We'll look to see if it really takes off. Sometimes you got to let him go, and you got to pick him. You got to pick him right back up. Rivian looking like one of those QUBT. I'm watching out there. What's happening, guys? What are you looking at? Spy still down there. VIX trying to move.
Good relative strength kind of play, right? And I love those. Right? The market's selling, and Mitch
Yeah.
is finding the stuff that's not selling. And then
Yeah.
the idea is, if the market bounces, that stuff that they weren't selling, right? They weren't throwing out this baby with the bathwater.
Nope.
Maybe we get a little bit of dig in there. Maybe we get a little bit of a push higher there. We get something. Because again, relative strength, relative weakness, one of the things that makes the absolute most sense to me as a trader. It makes perfect sense. You're just saying, okay, the market opened up, people started selling, they started taking profits on things. Okay, what didn't they want to take profits on? Those are the things that they're probably going to like the best. And
Oh yeah.
it's just what's holding up, and vice versa. If we gap down and the market ripped, saying, hey, what are they not buying? Because that's probably the stuff they hate the most. So if the market rolls over, then that's the stuff that's going to hit new lows potentially first. So getting a little bit looks like maybe some dig in action. If we have that, then it might be one of those names where it might be one of those things where you just make that list. You say, hey, show me everything. This is where kind of I think AI will be interesting.
Oh yeah.
Is, hey, the market is sold off. You could say something simple like, show me, a lot of high relative volume names that didn't sell off with the market, and just spit out a bunch of names for you to take a look at, and then you buy the ones you end up liking.
I'm looking for a slight undercut here on ALB. If it could tap 71 again, it'd be really nice here. I like this pullback. Like, I like these types of pullbacks on the 15-minute. This is the 9 EMA on the 15. So what happens is a lot of traders get caught on the VWAP. So then it comes back a little bit further. It's still within a kind of a fib retracement. And I'll do a fib for my man, Steve, right? This is the 61.8. And what I love, and I talk about these all the time, is how it's in between the 50%, and the 61.8. So sweet spot, 50% right above it, 61.8 on the bid, right? Like, it's literally in between that. I think that's a very important look there, right? Because it tells you pretty much it's had its perfect retracement, the golden mean. Now let's see if it comes right back up, right? So we'll see what happens there. Interesting setup there if you're looking for bullish.
The old fibs.
LAC at the top end, SQM, not looking too bad. I did take FLNC. That one's a little red, looking for a little pullback to maybe add there. UUU, though, good reaction on the first move.
Yeah, I really like. Yeah, I like the that UU, but I really like the look of this LAC. It's a really nice look here.
LAC.
Just
Yeah.
has not given a single crap about the market pulling back at all.
Yeah.
Just doesn't care. Holding up so strong on this name.
Yeah, that's why I like the SQM. Long term, it doesn't look bad right here, too. Hey, this just looks pretty. We'll see if it can really get going. And with that being said, ALB would trade side by side with that, right? So
What a
give me one more cut down towards the 71 and then start to ramp up towards 72s. Will not be a bad look there. Rivian in the green here, went long right off the 12s again. Talked about it could come back into that range, find some buyers. So I'm willing to step up a little bit here. The SPY is starting to catch a little bit of some sideways action, so that's actually not that bad. So is the Qs. Now Qs just, I want to see just like a bullish drive here,
Yeah.
like just drive away. Don't even let anybody in. So let's see if it just gets hot here, right? So you can see how the volume's starting to change here. We were like kind of higher volume as soon as we started to break down here. Higher volume, higher volume. Every pop is getting higher volume. Tells me more and more maybe buyers are willing to start stepping back up here. The question is, do we break that low? If we break that low, I'll probably be more in the later in the afternoon look. But right now, if we can get back to 572, that's going to be a telling sign.
Yeah, just going through here and seeing if there's anything that's going to shake us up. Is anyone talking? What's going on? I see,
Some barking.
a big Tesla, a nice little upgrade, or Morgan Stanley reiterates overweight with a 410 price target. That came out just a few minutes ago here.
Come on, Rivian. Let's get the move on. It's also a throwback look. Throwback recovery look. If it can get back above 12s, I think we can make a move to 1250s, then 13. So we'll see what happens there in Rivian. What's up, traders? AVAH, one that I was watching for a break of 6 or a breakdown back below the 550s, has been hanging in there, been up there towards the 6 multiple times here. Decent amount of volume, just hasn't been able to break that 6. I don't know if there's some type of iceberg order there at 6. I don't have access to the dark pool right now, but I'm watching it, and it just seems like 6 is definitely the area of control right now where it can't hold. Every time it pops through 6, it comes right back down and actually closes below 6. So close above 6 could be that break finally that gets these guys, right? So some people got short probably into this, and if it squeezes through 6, it's going to put these guys on the run. So
Good.
we'll see what happens.
Good. I love nothing more than the best buying out there. I'll say it all the time is forced buying.
Yeah.
Like people
Force
who
buying,
have
exactly.
that's how institutions work. Every time we talk about liquidity run, remember they can't see your order, but they can see everybody's, or they know where everyone's order is. So if they know there's going to be a lot of forced buying or selling at a certain level, that's the level they're going to take, right?
Yeah. QBTS, let's see if that one hung in there. It did, and then it came right back to the VWAP. So seems like we're not getting that continuation there. Ion Q trying to get back up there. Definitely a little bit of some mixed noise out there right now, and I think that's part of that is the SPY not really getting some love here. Neither is the Qs, but we haven't broken. We're just sideways, so we're looking to see what happens there.
Yeah, it's first step, right? Stop going down, right? If we can just
Stop bleeding.
right, if we it's like the whole, how do I get out of this hole? Well, the first thing to do to get out of a hole is to stop digging the hole. And that's kind of what we've done here, right? We're not bouncing significantly. It's not like an amazing move, but we have, at least for now, stopped going down, and we're just chopping right above, which is crazy. That 633 level that we talked about well before the market opened. Said, hey, take a look at 633, see what happens there. And yeah, it's that went right to it, touched it, and now we're just dealing with this kind of action back and forth. So my hope is that we dig in here, we start to grind a little bit higher. That'd be interesting, and we can maybe start to rebound over VWAP. Right, it'll take time. There's when you have a sell like that, it takes a little bit of time to recover it. We'll see how much that is. That hours, or are we talking days?
Cavell, tobacco, baby. Penny stock, real penny stock. Rivian, let's go. Let's go for a rip to 1250. Come on, Rivian. Come on. Let's go, Rivian. Vamonos. Everybody, let's go. What's
Well,
up, chat? What's going on, guys? Lemonade?
the Chad token was
The
up
Chad.
50% today.
The Chad.
So there's something. So if you think
Where's
we're
the
entering
Chad?
risk off mode, why is
Where's the
yeah,
Chad going?
Chad? Just that's the token. Do I have this to chart? Chad,
Chad.
crypto.
Come on. I just want the ramp up. Just the gas pedal, man.
Yeah, jeez. Oh,
Still Rivian.
never mind. Never mind with that nonsense. Up a bunch today doesn't mean it's up overall.
All right, Q's. Let's do it, Susie Q. Little TQQQ action. Could do that instead of adding to Rivian. Probably do that. Instead of just going bigger in Rivian, maybe looking to see if we get a spike on the TQQ above 90.70. That could maybe drive it to 91.70, which our resistance right now is 91.68. So that's just the way I see it.
Oh my F tech. Another
Give me this
13% move today. I'll take it.
red candle to green candle on 15 minutes. That's what I'm going to be watching for right now to keep it simple, right? So on the TQQQ, the open of this candle, 90.59, get it back above 90.60. That's my sign. Sometimes you got to keep things simple, right? To me, I think sometimes you can do things like that. You can just be like, so like for Rivian, this candle just needs to stay at green on the 15. If it can stay green, I can still stay in it and it's still holding the trend. You don't want to see this go back to green, right? Not stay red and close down. All right, starting to get protection ready for the swings at least. They're slightly red. You can see them here. They're just slightly in the red, but don't want to push too much in that account, right? I'm pretty close. It's okay to take some hits. Just got to watch for this TQQ. Wake up. Let's go. Wake up, TQQ. Go green. Go green for me. Show me that you want to do it. One getting hit today. WBD. Big hit there, guys, off the earnings. Down to $12, down to 11.80s. This has a lot of volume trading today. On also. Big turnaround to the downside.
Yeah, there's been a lot of just going through some scans here. A lot of that, a lot of really XYZ strong name, not doing so well anymore. Still in the context of everything, right? With the zoom out, looking good overall, but yeah, having a bit of bad time. We have this APP. It's up 40.
TQQQ getting a little stronger there,
Yeah,
guys.
$43 a share on App 11. Nice little push there. Nice chart.
App 11, APP.
Yeah, go grab.
Yeah, not a bad one, man. Good daily chart, sideways.
Yeah, breaking out of
Monthly.
this.
This is the classic chart where the daily looks kind of like, I don't know. But just go to the monthly, man. That's
Yeah,
clean.
little pushback. Yeah, and
It's clean.
you're trading something like this. It's a long term kind of momentum idea anyway.
Yeah, and I think when you look at stocks, let's say above 200, I'll try to draw towards a level, right? You got to get to a point where you're starting to build positions. I think that's the only way it makes sense to like be going at that like APP. If you really look on the monthlies, you can attack monthly lows and use those monthly lows for undercut and rallies like you got in April. Essentially, that undercut the support around the right around this 288. 290 level, went down to 200, and then you're getting quick sweeps. You see that there's no other low below 200 or near 200. The closest low after that is like 276. So that tells me maybe looking for like 270s, 250 areas to jump in on this seemed to make sense. Now you're above 400, so you're looking for like whole dollar pullbacks to
Yeah.
build positions.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know why I have this line up here, but I do. Oh, I low of this gap, I guess. That's just where it hit on the
There's
intraday chart.
TQQQ. Now it's starting to get that nice little lift there. We're starting to get a little bit of a push here. Let's see if we can
Okay,
actually push off of this here.
let's do that. That would be great. Yeah, so above VWAP would be big, which is right above head. Let's see if the spies,
I took
yeah,
the long.
spies joined us. IWM, IWM even trying to bounce a bit, but doing what IWM does, which is sucking.
Yeah, that's the truth.
The Yeah, the unwind of this trade, it's kind of like a will they, won't they, when will this ever happen thing. But if it does, the unwind between the selling the large cap tech and buying the IWM will be
Really
an
quick
interesting
sweep
thing.
right back
Ooh,
down on the TQQQ and the
yeah,
Qs. That
same
was
with
a
SPY
sweep
here.
down. They came and swept us. Look for the move back up, but they definitely came in and swept. So just be careful out there, guys.
Let's go take a look here to our boy Walter. What did Trump say? Right, that's the nothing from Walter. What's this other one that people are talking about? Financial juice. Let's check this out. Uh, Fed Bolsic said something 5 minutes ago, but that's what it.
Yep, that's about it.
Slow day when it comes to news, which is fine. And the other thing that I'm thinking that may be leading this kind of choppiness in the market, and we talked about this, and you and me mentioned our WhatsApp group before we got started here, is just the number of earnings reports last night was insanity.
Yeah,
And if there is when there is that many earnings report, you got to remember this. We look at sometimes the SPY as just like this monolithic thing, but it's really just a basket of names. And if you have a whole bunch of these names reporting earnings, and I see that there's a bunch of earnings calls on right now, just like I'm scrolling through the list here on StockTwits, and there
yeah.
are tons of earnings going on right now at this very moment. Um, so you're going to have some stocks ripping, some stocks tanking, some stocks, and then that because the market is made up of those names, those that kind of chop could be just going on in the market here overall.
That
So
AVAH just broke six couple of times. Still can't break it. That's an interesting name in the way that it's the price action's doing there. That's for sure.
yeah, keep
Might get cut. We're getting some downside to come in now. Yeah, SPY just can't hold on right now. Might be an
see,
afternoon type move.
you know, CEG, nice little push up here. CEG, I'm seeing they actually have their conference call on right now.
I'm not sure if it's your audio or my side, Michael, but you're sounding a little choppy. I don't know if it's me. I think it's the mic, but well, chat will let us know.
Uh,
There you go. I think it got fixed. It was just for like a slight
Testing.
second.
Am I
Fixed.
better? Okay.
Fixed.
Okay, cool. It's a little glitch, but yeah, I was just saying CEG. I'm just looking. They're having their conference call, their earnings call right now, and they're looking. They're breaking out just here a little bit. Now this is a utility, but this
Nice,
is one of
nice
those.
mention.
Not
Nice mention.
yeah,
I like the mention
not
because I've
not
been
not
waiting
your
for SMR to get hot today. And so I'll look for CEG to lead and SMR to get hot.
yeah. And I'm just seeing. So yeah, for those who don't know, again, you guys know me. You're not gonna pay me to listen to conference calls, but just on StockTwits, they just have this little widget that just shows you can listen to. It's sponsored by this Quarter app, which I guess just hosts all these things and transcribes them. And as I'm scrolling through, there's just like maybe 20 different earnings calls going on right now. So, CG, APLE, NTR, blah, blah, tons and tons. That's why I'm saying with all of this kind of action happening, it makes sense that we're, pulling back to maybe a little bit choppy because you've got stock A that might be ripping and stock B that might be tanking, and all of that makes it really really hard to kind of pinpoint a direction overall
Yeah.
in your kind of directionless.
I'm going to take that SMR on a swing here just for the bottoming, the rule of four. Just recently got a wick test through the 45. I don't think we break 45 anymore here. So I'm going to go ahead and risk 44.89 and look for this to go back up through 46, really start recovering SMR. That AVAH just got rejected at 6 again. Now a lot of sizing starting to come in. To me, this looks like an iceberg order that can't get through 6. I'll see what happens, but penny stocks are always interesting, and this will be kind of one of those that I'm going to leave to Kevin. I know Kevin's probably listening in, but this just looks prime, like it just can't get above 6, and now could come right back down. Remember, this thing closed yesterday at $4, so a move back down could be like 20%, right? So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I like I really do like the play that Kenny or Kevin does here, where he's looking for these kind of trend line breakdowns of strong names,
Yeah,
potentially short. And yeah, iceberg orders are interesting if you can spot them. They're very hard to kind of algorithmically spot. So for those who don't know, just to go, an iceberg order is basically no large institution is going to ever show on the book, right, that they want to sell 100,000 shares of a company. Like you like I don't have to do that with interactive brokers. Why would they ever do that? What they'll do is for an iceberg order, they'll put out 100 share sell. And then every time that 100 share sell gets taken, their system automatically replaces with another 100 shares over and over and over again. So you never see how much they are to sell because they're only showing 100 shares. So what happens is this is the way big guys, even big retail traders, will sneak into and out of positions with these kind of refreshing hidden type orders. And this isn't dark pools or anything. It's lit. You can see it, but it's one of those things that still is very important for a human to kind of go and see it. And what you're looking for is a very small size on the bid or the ask, but a lot of shares going through at that price and just showing that there's somebody out there who's
literally what we
algorithmically
see.
putting it.
Literally what we see, and I can tell you guys that because I'll show you guys it in 1 second. I just need to kind of make sure I'm protecting my positions here, but I'll show you that right now. AVAH, let me attach this so I can actually bring up my whole platform here. So you see here at the bottom, you see how there's like no volume here at 6 and 601 on the DOM? There's like very few volume. But then when you look at here, you're going to see, and if I bring this size down, I bring it down because I have another one, and you see a lot of volume start flowing through there. And it's just not really even like showing up. But then you'll get a pop above 6. There's no volume, and it just kind of drops down.
Yeah.
It's just
Because
interesting there.
they lift and they'll do this all the time where if they think people are onto them, that they're holding this bid or this ask, they'll cancel it and they'll let it drift up a little bit and then they'll put it right
Exactly.
back down. So it's like they get all that liquidity down to 6 and then they're sitting there at 6 again, not showing their hand. And it's, these games are just
They're wicked.
it.
They're wicked,
Um,
man. They're
this is
wicked.
just
This is penny stock mania. That's what I'll call it.
Well, and it's, this is why a lot of the games that I used to play, I was purely a tape reader. My prop firm would not let you look at charts until you were profitable. They solely wanted you to find a stock that was in play that day and just stare at the book and start to notice these patterns of, who was buying and where and what level they were selling at and all this. And this was before you could play a lot of these games. So if you were selling shares, there was a human on the other end actually manually doing those orders. But now this is kind of all algorithmic. That's why it's happening so quickly. But there's still ways to spot some of these games. And doing that, I don't think you would do that as a pure trading strategy. But, let's say I know there's a lot of traders out there that will take their whole universe of things they could trade that day and they'll narrow it down to like 4 positions and they'll divide their monitor up into 4 and they'll just have a chart and a level 2 and a time and sale for each of those 4 and they're just studying those every day for things like Mitch was talking about. Then you're taking little scalps. If you're seeing that there's a seller around the $6 area, every time it gets there, you're selling with them a little bit and then it drops back down, you cover, and then it goes back to 6 and you just play these little games. And it was it was a wild time to be there. I would do it with 6. That's how I did. I had 6 level 2 time and sales up and just staring at them looking for patterns. In most of those 6, there wouldn't be any. But every now and then you'd find it. You go, oh, I see that there's a guy trapped here and he's trying to get out of position. Let me front run him and
Yeah.
do that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, just added to the SMR position there as it started to get back towards VWAP, looking for a pop above VWAP. Would love to see CEG really take off here. That's what really could get things going. And I'll look at it like a GEV and things like that. Can one of these start showing me some strength? NNE, those type of names. Looking to see if SMR can recover today. We'll see what happens there.
Well, all right, guys, I'm going to take off just
That's
a
it. Yeah,
minute
well,
early to do
yeah,
some
no
baby
worries.
naps.
Go enjoy it, my friend. I appreciate you coming on. Take it easy, and hopefully you're a lot better and the house gets to calm down and get some
Yes,
rest
that would be
for
fantastic.
everyone in the house. So take
Thank
care,
you.
my friend. No running lights anymore.
See ya,
Take care.
guys.
All right, guys, we'll get Michael out of here. Always good to have Michael. And like I said before, if you haven't done so already, you didn't catch us early on, hit the link down below, guys. You guys don't want to miss a building profitable trading bot event, right? You guys want to be there? Don't miss it. August 18th. You guys see it right here. Sign up now. Hit the link. Where is it? In the description below. Like always, guys, we got links for you guys to go ahead and keep following up with all our events. You don't want to miss that. Hit the link. My man Michael was working really hard for that, so I hope you guys appreciate it. Let's go. All right, guys, we'll be wrapping up in just a couple seconds here. If you guys have any other stock you guys want to call out here, let me know in the chat. We'll keep it moving. We'll take a look at some other ones. But yeah, definitely, it's a great day here at Trade the Pool. Ready to wrap it up. And a little bit in the red. They're down like 65 in the main account. The swing account's a little bit down a little bit further. That's the one that I want to start protecting, right? I can't let this one really kind of break down too much. So I'm just going to keep playing my plays that I'm doing right now. Trying to ride and try to catch one of these waves up. But the market's just been on a fade all day. So could continue fading. I still have a little piece of Rivian. I have a stop right underneath it. I did 1193s. We'll tell you guys that like I always do. Always show you guys that. Looking to see if that can recover 12. We'll see what happens with that one. Finally at least going back to the green there. SMR. I just kind of believe in these positions. So I got to hang on in the swing and then just kind of ride it out. FLNC is another one that I like here. But I'd look at this one more as a swing also. Closer towards 9 would have to be the risk, but it's not a bad look there. We'll see what happens if Bloom Energy or FLNC can make a little bit of a bounce. Wish you guys the best of luck today. Like always, keep battling. We'll see you guys right here on Trade the Pool. If you guys want to look at me tomorrow, I do go on different shows and try to help out, expand the trading pool community. Of course, we'll probably check out the Stock Trader Network tomorrow. That's the pre-market prep guys. You can look them up and then catch me out there doing a little bit of some trading. You guys can always go to our Discord. Our Discord never sleeps. And trust me, they don't, man. I watch them all the time. I get alerts all the time. So they're talking trading. Get to the Discord. That's also in our description below. It's good to see you guys like always. I'm going to continue battling. We'll see what happens in the afternoon. If some things can turn around. Definitely the battle of the market has been a pullback all morning long. We'll look to see what happens with that. You guys can see it right here. And we'll see what happens, guys. The battle is around, and I'll keep battling. I'll see you guys next time right here, of course, on Trade the Pool. We always got a lot more for you guys. Next week, we'll be taking a look into some other earnings and really kind of continuing to push. At least the big boys are through. I'm not sure exactly when NVIDIA reports. That's going to be one that I'll keep an eye out for. But it's active times out here, guys. And we got to continue to watch to see if any of these stocks can really start to bounce back. But that's going to do it for me. Like always, continue battling. Hit the like and the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed.